Football is back in the capital after a long absence, and today promises to be an absolute cracker. It's the BBL's two big beasts going head-to-head. The tip-off is in 15 minutes.
The fans started arriving early this morning as the BBL Play-off final returns to Wembley after 11 years away. So much excitement here at Wembley Arena, a full house, and I have to say, a terrific atmosphere as well. A lot at stake too. The Leicester Riders have had the best season in their club's history, but it all comes down to this final game, the Leicester Riders versus the Newcastle Eagles, live from Wembley Arena in London. Newcastle, meanwhile, have had each of the trophies they won in 2012 taken away from their trophy cabinet. So can they win this final game of the season? I'm joined by Vince McCauley, coach and owner of the London Lions, and a real legend of the BBL. Great to have you here, Tony Windlass. Great to have you both here. Tony, let me start with you. You used to play here many years ago, didn't you? And this is such an atmosphere.
Well, yeah, this here was our home court. And I tell you what, these guys tonight, these some bouncy rims. When you hit the rim, it's going to be long rebounds. So it's like I said, they got to go get these rebounds, especially the guards. And if they get that, then maybe Newcastle or Leicester will have a chance to win the game, get the long rebound.
Now, Vince, in the intro there, I described these two teams as the two big beasts of the BBL. Is that fair at the moment to say that?
Oh, absolutely. These are the two best teams in the BBL right now by a mile. Their organizations, top to bottom, are tip-top. The Leicester Riders, the Newcastle Eagles, obviously have been doing this for a number of years, and Leicester have taken their time to build this into a really strong group.
Tony, you play for both these teams. Who are you going to support?
Well, right now, I mean, I have to support Leicester. I mean, it's the last team I played for, but I still, you know, got feeling for Newcastle because they have great fans.
Newcastle would, after everything they've had this season, it's going to be hard for them, but they'd love to make it all right on the final day of the season, wouldn't they? Because last year it all went their way, didn't it, Vince?
Well, that's right. I mean, obviously Fab Flournoy is a really, really proud guy, and you know, he's very, very successful as far as coaching is concerned. He's going to be absolutely burning inside at the fact that their trophies have been taken away by the Riders in particular, and tonight is an opportunity for them to redress that balance. So I'm expecting a real cracker of an encounter.
Well, we'd love to hear from you at home today. You can tweet us. It's at BBL Official, and there's a hashtag as well you can use. That's hashtag BBL Play-off Finals. Hashtag BBL Play-off Final. Your questions for the guys, your thoughts on the game, maybe a few predictions as well. We'll look forward to reading your tweets out later on. Now, as I said, last year was all about Newcastle. This year, it's been all about Leicester. Here's the story.
That just trims the margin. This has been Newcastle Eagles Day, and they are the 2012 Cup champions. The Newcastle Eagles are the 2012 BBL Play-off final. They have completed the clean sweep of domestic honours for the second time in their history. To Taylor, big shot for three! Oh, it's hit it! Would you believe it? And that's it, it's done. The Leicester Riders can celebrate. It is the end of the game. Sheffield have won in the most dramatic circumstances.
It's been an amazing turnaround, hasn't it? It's been such a dominant season for Leicester. Tony, why have things switched so much, and what's been the reason for it?
Well, if you look at the last couple of years, Leicester was getting better and better. Newcastle, Charles Smith is getting old, and that take a toll on your team if one of your best players is getting old. So, and you got these young guys at Leicester, they energetic, and you got three of the best defensive player in the league on Leicester team, so that take a lot out of you if you got those three guys on Leicester team.
Everyone talking about their defence at the moment.
Yes,
Vince, if you look at the head-to-heads between the two teams, what's absolutely fascinating is that it's been a clean sweep for Leicester this year, and 4-0 record, and Leicester pretty dominant.
Well, and that's the way to be dominant over a team that has been dominant over the last few years. I think Coach Paternoster, just like Tony said, really has been getting better and better in what he's been doing. And most importantly, we know them for their defense. You can see them, Newcastle averaging only 71 points a game against the Riders, and then the Riders out rebounding them by over 5, blocks, assists. Everything is in favor of the Leicester Riders, but you don't become an overnight success in this game. You have to work at it, and what Rob has done is put the right pieces of the puzzle around, and of course Andrew Sullivan with the team. That's made a huge difference this year.
Tony, you've got so much experience of playing in these big games. That win-loss record there, how much will that be playing on the Newcastle Eagles players' minds right now?
Well, the thing is, a game like this, you just throw everything out the window. This is one game off, and anything can happen. And I know Fab is telling those guys just one game.
So it doesn't matter that much.
It doesn't matter right now. Whatever happened before doesn't matter. This is the playoff. You can forget it. You can forget about the regular season game. This the game right here.
Okay, well, almost time to go here at Wembley Arena. A little bit earlier, Mark Woods spoke to the two coaches.
Rob, let's firstly have a look at that thing in your hands, the Coach of the Year prize you got a few minutes ago. It's been a pretty impressive season for Leicester.
It has been. The guys came in September, and not only did they have talent, but right from the start they worked together, played hard, and it's a team award. I've been lucky to coach these guys this year.
You've beaten Newcastle, of course, 4 times already this season. What does that signify today? Is it going to be a little bit of extra confidence there, or is it just tough to beat a team like the Eagles 5 times in a year?
I don't think we put too much stock into that. I think it's Sunday here at Wembley, and whoever plays well today, I don't think the games earlier in the season amount for anything. I think it all comes down to who makes the plays today.
Defense has been Leicester's calling card all season, the second best defense in league history. Is there a magic number today you're looking for to hold Newcastle under?
Nah, we don't look at numbers, but we want to make every shot difficult. I think that's important. We understand that they have talented players who are going to make shots, but the more difficult we make each shot, the better for us.
46 games played this season, the most of any team. I guess it would hurt if the last one was a loss.
Of course, anytime you play your last game, you want to win it. And like I told the guys, we have the opportunity today to go out as winners. But whatever happens on the day, I will be so proud of these guys, and I've enjoyed competing with them. We're excited about today.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Fab, you've been in this league long enough to have played here at Wembley before. Tell us about it. What's this place like as a venue?
I mean, it's fantastic. It's history, it's heritage for the British Basketball League, and it's fantastic being back here, especially after 12 years. And hopefully, I'll do the job in this game. Nothing against Leicester Riders, but I was against that, playing against that Leicester Riders team who won it on the final day when I was at Sheffield. So I'm excited about being here.
Injuries, of course, have been such a problem for you all season, but the last month, things seem to have turned around. Now, are we going to see the best of Newcastle today?
Yeah, I mean, finally we're back healthy, and we came good in the end, and getting everybody playing right and everybody understanding their roles. So hopefully we'll have a great game for both teams.
4 meetings between these teams this season. Of course, all 4 of them have gone to Leicester. What differences are you going to look for today?
Lots of differences. Like I said before, we have our team, our full-fledged team back. Take nothing away from their fantastic team. They did it, or they did the job. And tonight it's just about who wants it more. No more, no less.
Best of luck, Fab.
Thank you.
There you go, 2 confident coaches. They're ready, we're ready as well. Join us after the break for the main event. It's the Leicester Riders versus the Newcastle Eagles in the BBL Play-off final coming up. Welcome back to the playoff final. Over in a second to your commentators Dan Routledge and Vince McCauley, but before that, the national anthems.
So, ladies and gentlemen, to sing our national anthem, please welcome to the floor, Rachel Kerr. Let's hear it for Wembley.
Rachel Kerr there doing the national anthem for us. Vince, tip-off now just a couple of minutes away. I know you've been looking forward to this game. You've come up with some key facts. What are the key factors in this game for you, Vince?
Well, a big game today, Daniel. The hairs on the back of my neck already sticking out as we prepare for this absolutely fantastic encounter. The Leicester Riders, the Newcastle Eagles. The Leicester Riders defense, Daniel, we know all about that. And obviously we've talked about a few keys to the game. Andrew Sullivan and Anthony Rowe, their tandem is absolutely critical for the Riders, especially on the offensive glass. Of course, they must match the Eagles' firepower on the scoreboard. Charles Smith, Joe Chapman, absolutely in terrific form. And of course, their multiple defenses, their presses and their zones and their traps need to control the Eagles' tempo, Daniel.
And then at the other end, the Newcastle Eagles, what do they have to do well today, Vince?
Well, the first thing is they've got to bring their A game, Daniel, because they're going to be winless if they don't win it today. Absolutely vital things for them. They must withstand that Riders press. I know Coach Paternostro is going to want to mix and match it and keep Hoffman on his toes. That's the key. Kareem Maddox, this is an enigma. We need a big game for him. He didn't show up in the cup final, Dan, and that was a critical reason for the Riders winning that title. And of course, I mentioned Charles Smith and I mentioned Joe Chapman. They have to light it up today.
Yeah, they certainly do. Let's take a look at the two team lists for today's game, starting with Leicester, who go in search of a third trophy this season. This for a club who'd only got 2 top-flight prizes before this campaign. Defense their key. Sullivan, Taylor, Kuznod, all in the BBL Team of the Year. They have offensive weapons as well, and Pavel Lasonsky, who's been struggling with back and calf problems, now seems to be fully fit. He's a key, if somewhat overlooked, part of their team, Vince.
Yes, definitely, because, you know, we know the Leicester Riders have the outside game in the shape of Kuznod and Taylor, and we know they have something around the basket in what Rowe and obviously Sullivan do, but actually they need something in that middle range, and that's where I think Lasonsky is key, 15 to 16 feet out.
Well, let's take a look at the Newcastle Eagles, and they finished second in the leading scoring this season, just a tick under 90 points per game. Charles Smith leads their averages, but any of these starters could go for 30 points. Against Leicester, however, their best attempt was only 80 points in the cup final defeat, only averaged 72 points per game. Vince, my thinking low 70s is Leicester's game, high 80s, somewhere near their average. Newcastle have a good shot at this.
100%, Danny, that's exactly what I had in my mind. Anything 73 and under would be Leicester, anything towards 79 would be the Eagles. However, that's not going to happen if Chapman and if Smith don't come to play, but they're going to need somebody else. In the cup final when they lost, don't forget, they actually picked up in the end. It's Hoffman, it's Maddox. They must join the party.
They certainly must. Well, the two teams have made their way out to the court, the crowd starting to crank up their noise as the two teams try and battle for the volume, if nothing else. Certainly, it's easy to pick out the Leicester fans in their red. Newcastle in their black and white, kind of harder to pick out here at Wembley, but they seem to be mainly over on the far side, and the two teams are ready to go. It's the BBL Play-off final live from Wembley Arena. It's the Leicester Riders against the Newcastle Eagles, and it'll be Anthony Rowe against Darius Defoe to jump us up. We're underway, and Defoe tips it back to Charles Smith, and the defending playoff champions will have the first offense of the game. Maddox trying to go to work. Good defense from Lasonsky to put him off. Here comes Leicester through Taylor. He has nobody with him, so he slows it down a little bit. Kuznod thought about the three, turned it down. He won't at the second attempt, and that one doesn't go.
Yep, all both getting their efforts into gear, first gear, second gear. Maddox going all the way, looks like. No, this is going to be interesting. I like the way Maddox went to the basket early on, Daniel, because as I said, you know,
he throws it away though. Kuznod out on the break, has Sullivan with him, doesn't need him, and Leicester are first on the board.
Yep, nice and smooth. But you know what, Leicester have been in every final this year. They know what it's all about. We talked about the heritage of the Newcastle Eagles and what they've won, but you know, crucially, Hoffman and Maddox are not part of that.
Smith trying to back down Sullivan. Smith to the runner, doesn't go, rebound Rowe, and he gets it out to the GB captain. Sullivan kicks it forward to Lasonsky with the head fake, gets his man up in the air and finishes off the glass.
Well, Coach Paternostro is going to be happy right now. Look at the extended defense on Hoffman. He's going to have to work 94 feet the whole game.
And that is what Leicester do to you. It's Taylor at the moment, but they have multiple guards to put pressure on the ball for the whole game. Chapman, guarded by Kuznod. Round the screen.
Missed the pass in there.
Hoffman driving in. Hoffman blocked, big block as well by Rowe, not in my house.
Interesting, Daniel, very interesting early doors.
Kuznov drives through to Losonsky. Sullivan fires up for 3 off the back of the ring. Rowe getting the rebound, but Hoffman pulls it away from it. Drew Sullivan, one of the few players who's been here before, began his career. There's a foul called, and I think it's on Losonsky. But Drew Sullivan, I think he was 15 years of age when he made his debut for the London Towers here at Wembley.
Indeed, his own court, and of course Tony Windler's in the box up there also, teammate of Andrew.
Chapman, there's a whistle on the play.
It's on Kuznov.
And that will be a couple of free throws. Didn't see him get out there. I thought he was a bit late getting there, but obviously caught him on the arm.
Referee's on the spot, 2 shots to come for Joe Chapman. Earlier on in the last Riders offense, Daniel, it was Kuznov being guarded by Smith looking to go to the basket, but he bailed out of that.
Chapman trying to get Newcastle on the board. It's taken them almost 2 minutes, but they have got their first points of the game.
There's going to be numerous questions asked throughout this game of both of these teams mentally.
Well, the referee originally signaled 2 shots,
what I thought.
But it did look like he was in the corner shooting a 3, but it is 3 free throws. Second one isn't good. And Chapman makes the third, sorry.
I'm always wary when you send a player like Chapman to the free throw line early to get his groove on.
Here's Losonsky. Kuznov running the baseline. He's picked the ball up, so he's got it to Kuznov. Smith in close attention. Sullivan has it now. Sullivan drives in, out to Kuznov, fires up for 3, a little short, and the ball is gobbled up by Chapman.
Yeah, 4 attempts for the Riders, 2 of them 3-pointers.
Chapman with the crossover, drives to the hole, throws it up, got a little pump from Pavel Losonsky, and he will go to the free throw line once again.
And I think he will go to the bench in Losonsky because we can't have 2. Yep, there he goes, the buzzer. 2 fouls in the first under 3 minutes.
Well, we said he's an important factor in their team, Pavel Losonsky, but they have played without him in recent weeks. I mean, you played them in the playoff quarterfinals. He was out injured for that, so they know how to cover, even though he's on the bench in foul trouble early on. And Jamal Anderson, well, if it wasn't for foul trouble, could easily have been the cup final MVP.
Well, I think the Riders play a lot more comfortably with Jamal Anderson on the floor because you need somebody who does all those things no one wants to do. He'll go relentlessly to the offensive glass. He'll chase everything, which Losonsky wouldn't necessarily be doing. 2 free throw misses, 3 free throw makes for Joe Chapman.
Riders 4, Eagles 3. There's pressure on Taylor there. Kuznov. Out to Anderson. Anderson drives in. Nobody picked him up, went for the jam, and Smith fouled him. And that's the thing is, sometimes you can drift off a guy like we see Jamal Anderson. He's not going to shoot it from there, but he's so athletic, he can get to the basket pretty quick.
Oh, and he'll certainly beat these guys off the dribble, that's for sure. He's exceptionally quick.
Charles Smith called for his first personal foul, and Jamal Anderson makes the free throw.
Yeah, early doors yet. No sign of Hoffman, of Defoe, and of Smith offensively yet.
Second one is a little bit short, and Defoe pulls in the rebound. Defoe. Maddox. It's a different proposition with Anderson guarding. Defoe with a little spin, overcooks it, rebounds Sullivan. Sullivan pushing, still going. Still Sullivan. Tried to bounce it through. Rowe faded out to the corner, and he wanted him to step towards the ball. And both teams finding their way here, I think it's fair to say, in the first 3 minutes.
Yep, unusual venue, obviously. They're going to get used to the surroundings. It's nice and tight. Now we've got Calvo in to give more pressure on Hoffman.
That's the other thing with you play these big cup finals in venues you don't come to every week, and then you get half an hour warm-up beforehand instead of the usual hour or so that you get.
Absolutely.
Maddox to the finger roll, lays it in. That's the first field goal of the game for the Newcastle Eagles.
Big piece of the Newcastle Eagles jigsaw is Maddox.
Sullivan. Backing down, spins past Chapman, trying to get it inside to Anderson. Blocked by Defoe, great block. Here comes Maddox on the break. It's
Still Maddox with the spin, absolutely mows down Zaire Taylor, and that'll be a charging foul.
Oh boy, oh boy. 1 on 4, Daniel, and you come up with a charging foul. Goodness me. I know that Maddox went on Ivy League college. His alumni would be grimacing right now if they were watching this.
Well, the scoreboard's managed to give that to the wrong player. They've given that to Pavel Losonsky on the scoreboard. Can't commit a foul from the bench. Sullivan to Taylor. Inside towards Rowe. Good hands to deflect it loose, and Newcastle get it back, looking for their first lead here.
Look inside. Defoe is he's got a mismatch in there. You've got to go inside. Oh dear.
But Anderson breaks it up, and Taylor steals it away. Sometimes you don't go in because you're forcing it. Calvo for 3 goes over the back, and neither team able to connect from behind the arc as yet.
Yeah, that's Maddox not recognizing the athleticism of Jamal Anderson in front of him.
Well, Fab Flanoy not brought himself into the game, watching on at the moment. Hoffman round the screen. Gets another one. Steps round, back out to Maddox. Maddox with the head fake, drives in, long way round, and converts.
Long arms reach right over the top of Rhodes and drop that in. First lead of the game for the Newcastle Eagles.
Well, we approach the midpoint of the first quarter, just 12 points on the board. These two teams competed in the lowest scoring BBL playoff final last season, and they're on pace for that again this season as Rowe gets to the basket.
Rowe and Sullivan, I think, really saw the Riders through the playoff series, and they're going to be absolutely key, Daniel. They really have been relentless on the glass and the drives to the basket, just like Rowe did then.
Defoe looking for some options, still looking. Gets it to Smith. Not many touches for Charles Smith in the early stages. It's so hard to shoot over Sullivan, though. Anderson goes up super high for that, and eventually Rowe grabs the loose ball. Here's Calvo. Calvo is being held by Maddox. He got behind him and just sort of grabbed him from behind, Kareem Maddox. His first personal foul. They've gone to the table just to ask the question. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it might have, yeah, it's the second personal foul on Maddox. Because of that, where they put the wrong foul onto the scoreboard, they didn't quite correct that error, and Kareem Maddox. Fab was already ready to come in the game. Fab knew he was on 2 fouls, and Maddox will go and sit down.
Well, Newcastle have been strangely hesitant offensively, Daniel. I don't know if that's the credit to the Riders' defense, but their ball movement has been very, very hesitant from one side of the court to the other. They need to find a flow because, you know, Leicester are terrific at taking you out of your rhythm.
Rowe will get a break for the Riders, and after this extended spell of just trying to clear everything up, now Coach Paternostro's asking a question. I have no idea what's going on out there.
I'm sure the rest will sort it out.
Well, they seem to have done it now, and we can get underway. It's into Yorick Williams. Taylor. Sullivan. Sullivan backing down on Flanoy. Sullivan with a little... Oh, what a shot that is from Drew Sullivan.
Right over the top.
Hoffman racing down court. Calvo trying to keep with him. Hoffman gets past him, dumps it into Flanoy, has to kick it out. Chapman's wide open at the top. They couldn't find him, and Williams recovered. Defoe trying to hand it over, gets it to Hoffman, back to Defoe. Defoe spinning on Taylor. That's a traveling violation, I think. Yes, says the referee.
I thought he maintained that pivot foot, but
I thought actually it was on the final spin. It looked to me like a travel, and when the referee blew the whistle, that was my first inclination.
Well, if it looks funny, generally it often is.
Yeah. I think also because he was so keen, because they switched again onto Taylor, and he thought he had that matchup. But twice they've turned it over, trying to force that.
Yep.
Sullivan with a quick release 3 under pressure, short, but pulled away by Calvo after Smith had got the rebound. It's out to Williams. Williams fires up for 3 and he hits. Yorick Williams, who is the percentage-wise best three-point shooter on the Riders team this year.
Oh, absolutely. And if you know Yorick, you know that he's never seen a three-point shot he doesn't like, and that one looks like one of his favorites. Nothing but screen.
Yorick Williams goes to the ground looking for an offensive foul on Chapman. It wasn't coming, and Yorick pulls in the rebound.
5-point Riders cushion.
Here's Yorick again. Passed out of that one. Got it into Sullivan, and that's one thing about Yorick. When the first one goes up, the second one's usually not too far away, but smart play, get it into the big guy. Riders into an early 7-point lead, force Newcastle into a timeout.
Absolutely. Yorick's a big-time player. He's been in many a final. He's played at this venue before, and he won't care about the reputation of the Eagles. He just wants to win this for the Riders.
Well, we talked all about the defense and about the high-octane scoring that Newcastle have, and can they break down this Leicester defense? 7 points in 7 minutes. That's exactly what Leicester would have hoped for at the tip-off.
Absolutely, and the thing is, I'm looking at Hoffman and Maddox. We've got 2 points between them. I think really that's the key. I mean, we talk about the system of the Eagles and what they do, but like I said earlier on, Hoffman and Maddox are not part of that. They haven't won with this Eagles team. They're having to learn, and actually everybody in a red uniform or black uniform for the Riders is a winner.
Of course, they've got a couple of winners' medals in the bag this year, and somebody like Drew Sullivan, that was just adding. In fact, he's had to have an extension, no doubt, to his cabinet this year, with all the awards that he's been winning, the Player of the Year from both the team and the coaches and the journalists.
Media, everybody.
Everybody, basically.
Yeah, well, when you're an Olympian, that's what you expect. And let's not get it confused right here. We have an Olympian here in London, in Andrew Sullivan, in his home turf, playing at Wembley. What else would you expect?
So the Riders have snuck out to a 14-7 lead here off the back of a 3-pointer and an assist by Yorick Williams to Drew Sullivan.
And this extended pressure is really causing trouble for the Eagles.
Hoffman, stolen away by Sullivan. Here's Calvo. Has numbers if he needs them, waits for the trail of Sullivan. Sullivan dumps it off inside to Anderson. Great play again, defense into offense for Leicester.
Transition buckets. Anytime you can get transition buckets, it's all good. That's what they live on.
And again, Leicester playing up-court pressure. Lanoy at the point guard. Bounces it down to Chapman. Cross court is broken up again by Sullivan, but Newcastle do keep hold of it. Stolen away this time by Taylor. Taylor with Hoffman running back. Taylor can't convert. Hoffman got his body in the way, and I think Lanoy stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
Just looks at the referee, nods his head, goes, yeah, my toe was just on the line.
Yeah.
Taylor here with a great steal, as he's been doing all season, but trying to draw the foul and not score almost.
Yeah, what's happening here? Ball handling is a huge... Oh, well, here we go. Darius DeForest coming out and Anthony Martin coming in. I was just going to say, ball handling is a huge issue for the Eagles right now. Forcing them into putting a smaller team on the floor. This is as small a team practically as they can put on the floor. That extended pressure, a lot of problems.
And all 5 guys can bring the ball up if needed. Williams is double-teamed here. He's under pressure, gets it out to Kuznov. Kuznov fakes it, the deep 3, drives inside, kicks around to Calvo. Calvo dumps off to Anderson. Anderson with the lay-in again. Good interior passing from Leicester.
So right now it's
double-figure lead, Vince.
Double-figure lead and point out to Leicester. Well, not only are they ahead, they've forced Newcastle into changes they don't want to make. Maddox is on the bench with 2. Anthony Martin has to come out and help with the ball handling duties.
Interesting, they drop back with Martin on. Maybe it's an element of his speed.
Smith. His speed is going to be a problem, without a doubt.
Gets his own rebound and tosses it back in at the second attempt.
Yep, I said there's going to be a lot of questions asked. Leicester Riders have answered the first lot of questions. Newcastle have to answer this question right here now.
Calvo around the high screen, dumps it into Anderson. He's fouled, and that will go. Great finish from the referees. Are just going to chat that over as to whether that will count. Yes, they will give it. I thought for a minute they were going to wave it off.
No.
He caught the ball and threw it up. What else could it be?
What else could it be? There it is, right there.
There's no dribbling there. It had to be an and one. They did have a momentary conversation, but Jamal Anderson does convert it. He goes to the line for a bonus, and Leicester outscoring Newcastle 20 points to 9 here in this first period.
I think I make it 6 points to Jamal Anderson, maybe 8, as he goes to the line for 2.
He can't convert the one.
Rather, sorry,
yeah. As he missed that free throw. And Anderson, it would have been 6 if that had gone in. Flanoy.
Very hesitant offense, Daniel.
Smith clears a little space for himself, gets his shot off, doesn't go. Good box out from Anderson.
And of course, what you have here, the Riders are giving a good old rest to Anthony Rowe and Drew Sullivan and maintaining.
And Lasonsky, of course, who sat down early on with foul trouble. Just as we approach the final minute, 9 is the lowest that a team has scored in the first quarter of a playoff final. Newcastle currently level with that as the lead stretches out to 13 with Zaire Taylor.
Really out of sync, Newcastle Eagles. Nothing for Joe Chapman. Charles Smith forcing jumpers.
Huffman drives in, forced back out. Anderson was there to help, but then moved away. Smith is challenged, kicks it out. Huffman fakes at the 3, steps underneath, takes the 2, knocks it down, and it's taken almost the whole quarter for them to get into double figures.
Thank goodness for that.
Taylor. Kuznod under pressure with his jumper is off the mark. Rebound pulled in by Huffman.
He needs to push the ball. What's he holding on for? Okay, he wants to take the last shot of the game. Goodness me.
There's about a 3-second difference between shot and game clock, so they won't be able to run it right to the end. Huffman round the high screen. It's down to 5. He's got to go now. He does go. Huffman's got to get the shot off. Does get it off. Hits the side of the ball. That's a 24-second violation. They didn't call it. They didn't call it. It was a 24-second violation. Wow. And nothing happened.
Well, Paternostro has spotted that on the side.
And they've gone to the table. I'm assuming that's the end of the quarter, but I'm not sure why it wasn't a 24-second violation. There should be 3 or 4 seconds left.
Absolutely, certainly 3.
But the referee has said, no, it's going to be end of the first quarter. It's been a great quarter for the Riders.
Well, Riders have had everything their own way. Eagles have many questions to answer.
Well, Leicester Riders outscoring Newcastle 2-1 in the first quarter of the playoff final. We'll be back with second quarter action after this. Welcome back to Wembley, where the Leicester Riders will start the second quarter with a 11-point lead, 22-11. Newcastle only 4 made field goals in that quarter, first quarter, Vince. And perhaps most surprisingly, no 3-point attempts. All right, there was one where they got fouled on one, but none actually taken properly, if you like.
Yes. Well, I said earlier on that they looked a little bit out of sync. I'm not quite sure, you know, how their playoff games went, in particular against the Heat in that 2-legged series, but they just looked out of sync, whereas Leicester Riders look like they've been playing intense basketball all season long.
Well, they made plenty of 3-pointers in the game I saw the first leg. That'll be a travel on Drew Sullivan as he just lifted his pivot foot.
Yep. Turnover, start the second quarter. Let's see how this pressure affects Huffman in the second quarter.
Leicester only had 2 turnovers in the first quarter, and they've coughed it up on the first play here. Flanoy driving in, kicks out to Smith, fakes at the 3, steps underneath, takes the 2, and that's part of the reason they haven't had a 3. There's been a couple there where Leicester have closed out well.
Well, they're going to close out on
Good defense from Chapman to steal it away. Flanoy has Smith ahead of him. Huffman's there too, round the screen from Huffman.
Huffman's got to hit a shot. Huffman at some point has to hit a shot. We're not going to live on Smith all day.
Smith's shot doesn't go. Rebound pulled in by Sullivan. Kuznod gets trapped, throws it out to Anderson. Fakes at the drive, cross court to Sullivan. Shot clock getting low on Leicester here. Sullivan's got to get a shot off, does get it off, draws the foul.
Yep.
It wasn't too far away from actually hitting it.
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure Chapman needed to commit to that foul. I think degree of difficulty-wise, Andrew was already taking a tough shot.
Yeah, just caught him. He dived down. It was a good closeout initially, but just sort of caught him on the arm. And as you say, that was going to be a tough shot for Sullivan to make against the shot clock. But a chance for him to re-establish a 10-point lead for the Leicester Riders.
Calvo's come straight back in for Anderson in that little foul sequence.
He makes them both. And again, they're just struggling to hand the ball over to Huffman on the inbound. He did get it via Flanoy. Kuznod trying to play the defense. Huffman fires up for 3. First attempt for Newcastle doesn't go.
Jeez, absolutely.
Taylor driving quickly, draws the foul, and that was just turned on the afterburners there. It looked like the defense was back, but somehow he split through them.
Well, I think, you know, Sullivan and Taylor and Anderson must look at Charles Smith and Joe Chapman and think they can go by them anytime they want. So, you know, that just proved it right there. Second foul on Chapman.
He's going to have to go sit down, and Defoe will come back into the game.
Well, the Eagles played pretty much the last 6 minutes without a recognized center. Really out of sync right now.
But if we remember back to the cup final, Leicester looked fairly dominant in the first half of that. But in the fourth quarter, Newcastle Eagles came back, took the lead. What was it? Just over a minute to go. They took the lead.
I mean, you know, you can't sleep on Newcastle. This is a proud team, and they're going to fight all the way. I'm just, you know, looking at this to say you don't want to wear Charles Smith out now before the fourth, and Chapman gets too many fouls.
Zaire Taylor misses the second free throw, and Flanoy grabs the rebound. Here's Fab. It's sort of screen from Smith both ways. Fab drives out. Defoe with a little 15-foot jump shot.
That's a young English player who has worked and worked on that shot, Daniel. That makes him a really, really good player right now, that 15-foot jump shot.
Cousineau drives in again, and it's definitely noticeable that Leicester feel they can get to the basket, as you said, Vince.
Yep, definitely, and that's where they're going to cause the Newcastle Eagles defense to collapse.
Offensive foul called on Charles Smith as he runs over Calvo. That's his second, so he, Maddox, and Chapman all on two.
Absolutely. Well, Calvo can be a bit of a pest defensively. He's an excellent defender off the ball, and as Charles Smith just fouled out when he got that ball and tried to make a move, he was right there.
Well, that's taking one for the team right there. I think that's fair to say, the popular Spaniard.
Yep.
Cousineau to Taylor. Penetrates in. Gets it out to Sullivan. Sullivan under pressure. Off the glass. Beautiful play.
He pirouetted and gave us a little snapshot before he dropped it in for 2. 12 points. The lead for the Riders.
Huffman waves away the screen. Smith with the quick release 3. Oh, halfway in for him. Should have got a point and a half for that.
Not according to Coach Paternostro. You get nothing for misses.
Sullivan to Cousineau. They're trying to get it down low to Rowe. They do cross court to Taylor. Sullivan inside again.
Sullivan's going to work, Dan.
And Leicester are going to work here. 14-point lead, and they've just done most of their work going inside. The only three-pointer was the Williams one. They've been getting to the basket like that. Here's Flanoy trying to get to the basket himself. Out 17 feet from home is Defoe. Rebound pulled in by Taylor.
I think Maddox has to come back, Daniel. I mean, right now, the Eagles are no match physically and athletically for the Leicester Riders.
Sullivan fakes at the 3, turns it down, moves it on to Cousineau. Here's Sullivan again, back out to Cousineau, sets his feet for 3, got caught. Oh, it almost went in.
That's a lazy
and Fab
foul.
Flanoy caught him, and he's now on 2. They've had 8 fouls in the game. All of them, 4 different players on 2 fouls.
You know what, Daniel? The Leicester Riders are in a much better place mentally this season than the Newcastle Eagles. I don't think that Newcastle Eagles squad buys into the mentality that winning requires. Which is a big statement to make, but that's what I see in front of us right now.
Timeout call by Newcastle Eagles. Fab Flanoy. Me and Vince have been coming to Wembley for many a long year. Over on the sidelines, Mark can give us some of that history.
Well, the BBL Play-off final back here at Wembley after an 11-year absence. But as you'll see from some of these programmes I've got with me, a very long and proud tradition of big games here at this venue. This, the programme from the 1978 National Cup final, but the first one to be played here back in 1938 when Catford, remember them, beat Rochdale in the final. Now, the BBL's been coming here since 1988. Livingston the victors that day. Here, another old one. Vince might remember this one when Milton Keynes were the victors here. But of course today it's the 2013 BBL Playoff Final. This the game programme, and 2 teams, Daniel, looking to cut their own slice of Wembley history this afternoon.
certainly are, yeah. I mean, that old Milton Keynes team, remember them, and Crystal Palace, the unbeatable team of the 70s.
Wow, rolling back the years there, Daniel.
Two of the great historical teams. It's funny, as I walked in, they've changed the venue around. They swapped ends.
Yes.
It kind of threw me when I first walked in, but other than that, it looks exactly the same.
Everything is the same on the inside, but the outside.
I was remembering back to when I was sat up there in, oh, it was a long time ago, 20, 30 years ago, way up in the nosebleed seats, enjoying the, well, it was National League basketball finals as it was back in those days. It's funny how things stick with you. Can't remember who was playing, but I can remember where I sat. Kuznod struggling from the free throw line here, misses the first two. He was fouled shooting a three-pointer.
Well, this will be the longest stretch the Eagles have gone without conceding a point, Daniel.
Finally finds his range on the last one. So Leicester, as they were at the start of this quarter, still outscoring Newcastle 2-1, 30 points to 15. Maddox has Kuznod gardening, and he fancies that matchup, but Kuznod does a good job. Even with the jump shot doesn't go. Rebound.
That's another one and a half.
That was borderline backcourt, wasn't it? It was close. He threw it backwards, lobbed in towards Rowe. Spins past Ickenwin, draws the contact, can't convert though. And Chapman with the rebound. Here's Maddox again. Maddox bouncing it off to Ickenwin. Fires it up and he got fouled by Rowe going for the block. It's interesting that they've gone with Kuznod against Maddox because the Newcastle guards are having difficulty getting the ball. They've now put a guard on the guy who's a forward bringing the ball up.
Absolutely, and that, in the end, that's what I think that's what Newcastle planned to do. But obviously with Maddox's foul trouble, he had to go and sit down. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. He has to stay on this floor or they can't win this game. Because this is a little too much for Hoffman right now.
Ickenwin's free throw is short. Rowe just got himself a little breather. Ickenwin's second one wipes its feet before it drops.
Ickenwin is a guy with a big future, Daniel. You know, nice young English guy. You know, been over to the States, looking to find his mark in the BBL and the pro ranks.
Cross court to Taylor. Taylor goes the opposite way to the screen. Now he backs out long two, just towed the line on that one, and Ickenwin pulls in the rebound, looking for some help. He's certainly less comfortable bringing the ball forward than, say, a Maddox.
Definitely.
Huffman.
Charles Smith over there upset he couldn't get the ball in the low post. I just think you need to move the ball around right now. He gets stuck with every single one of them.
Chapman off the back of the ring, rebound comes out long to Calvo.
That's what I mean. That's not a good shot for the Eagles, you know, behind the back and through the legs and jacking it up.
Kuznod fakes it, steps back for three, doesn't quite go. Anderson fighting his way round, trying to, but yeah, you're right. Hoffman knew the bigger, more athletic guy was behind him. He had to keep his body on him.
Yep, did a great job.
And sometimes, maybe, I mean, you love the enthusiasm, but sometimes Anderson has to maybe give up on that one.
Yeah, sometimes, but obviously he's a key guy. He knows his energy is vital. Ooh.
Little bump there from Calvo, let go by the referees. Smith driving in. Smith is blocked by Anderson. Sullivan could only tap it loose, and Anderson couldn't beat the ball to the sideline.
It's an Eagles ball on the baseline. Smith.
Just for a second, I thought Calvo might get a finger on that, but he didn't. Chapman throws it down low to Smith. Sizing up Taylor, spins past him. Oh, top play. It doesn't go, though, for Charles Smith. A little unfortunate that. There's a foul on the rebound.
Tough call there.
Oh, I don't know whether the referee thought, oh, I'm not sure if I've missed a foul on the shot. I'll give it on the rebound.
I don't want to hear that, but I just think that Smith maybe had the ball, but he just put the ball behind his head. And I thought Anderson had every right to go for that.
Pavel Leszonski about to come back into the game with 4.5 minutes to go. Anderson sitting down. Remember, Leszonski picked up 2 fouls very early in the game and has been sat down since then.
Yep.
It's a bit of a gamble for Rob. He doesn't normally put guys on with 2 fouls this close to halftime.
He's got to get back into the game, otherwise he might be out of the game altogether from a mental point of view.
Well, they switched there, but somebody missed an assignment, and Ickenwin with an easy lane cuts it down to 12.
Well, he's had an impact on his arrival. they just need enough more athletes on the floor. Ikim, Wynn, and Maddox. Ooh.
Kuznov bailed out of that shot, got it to Sullivan. Shot clock getting low. Drew Sullivan backs down Smith, and that was a bit too easy for Drew Sullivan.
Too easy. I mean, you hate to see easy buckets like that. You know, we know Smith is a liability defensively, and obviously they're going to take advantage of that.
Blocking foul called against Jay Kuznov. That'll be his second foul, so he becomes the third Leicester player on 2 in the first half. You can see what Rob Paternoster thought.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to take their own share of fouls. You know, this is going to be a gritty encounter. We still have a long way to go, and the Eagles are going to throw everything they can at the Riders.
Timeout called here. We're just under 4 minutes from halftime. It's been, as it has been for pretty much since the midpoint of the first quarter, a big Leicester lead. You think back those opening few minutes at the midpoint of the first quarter, it was 9-7. Leicester finished 13-4, and they've been living on that since.
Absolutely, and rightly so. And now they've got to do all they have to do, and I say all they have to do, is obviously manage this down the stretch. Whatever runs the Eagles are going to come up with, they're going to have to withstand. So I think the Eagles are trying to find their own identity right here and find someone they can go to that can consistently get them some points on the board right now.
Well, it's interesting because we talk about different players and different matchups. We've got some stats here that we can show you about how Charles Smith and Jay Kuznov match up. And interestingly, in doing it, Kuznov's averages go up against Newcastle, and Smith's numbers go down against Leicester.
Well, that's not surprising to me, Daniel. Kuznov's numbers will go up because what the Eagles like to do defensively is pack inside and force you inside. That, if you can have a player who can stay outside and remain outside, he will get opportunity looks, and that's what Kuznov does. On the other front, Charles Smith has only 2 ways to score: outside long 3-point shots or the turnaround jumper. If you have a big guy on him down low, he can't turn around and jump. And if you have someone quicker on him outside, he can't get his shot off. So as long as you can bother him in that respect, you can frustrate him and bring those numbers down.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for Smith. As great a player as he is, he's got Drew Sullivan, who's one of the best defensive players in the BBL.
Absolutely, and this is no disrespect to Charles Smith. You know, Charles Smith has been around a long time, so he's won his own fair share of championships, that's for sure.
Taylor, a little stop and go, kicks it out to Leshonsky, turns down the shot twice, fires up off the glass.
Should have shot that. That's what I said to you about the Newcastle defense, packing it inside. The person outside needs to stay outside and knock the shot down.
Maddox drives at Leshonsky, doesn't go. Another rebound grabbed by Sullivan. Doing a bit of everything, Drew Sullivan.
Exactly what he does.
Yeah, it's almost not worth saying, is it? That's every game. Here he is trying to back down Smith.
He likes this matchup. There you go.
And that's why.
That's why. There's nothing Charles Smith can do about it, you know. And you've seen, you know, they've done this a few times in practice.
Former teammates, of course. They actually played in a trophy final together against Leicester for Newcastle. And Sullivan was MVP in that occasion. Maddox inside. I think Calvo got a little block in there somewhere.
He did on Hoffman. Maddox is having an effect. You know, Maddox is having an effect. Hoffman is trying to get himself going. We need one more person to join the party if anyone's going to threaten that Leicester's dominance.
Calvo, Rowe, from the elbow. He loves that shot normally. He knew that wasn't going in, chased it down himself. He'll have another go. Didn't chase that one, although perhaps he should.
Oh, that's it.
Hoffman open for 3, doesn't go in, but the long rebound comes out to Chapman. Cross court to Smith. He won't need an invitation. That's miles off the mark. Another rebound for the Eagles. Maddox and Ikamwin in there. Here's Smith. Ikamwin's on his own, and he's blocked by Taylor, legally so. Looked like he could only foul him from there, but he somehow got the ball. And that will be a blocking foul against Zaire Taylor as he tried to recover cross court.
Interesting to see the Newcastle offense nicely spread. Chapman in the corner, Hoffman on an angle, Smith on an angle, spreading it out wide, giving Maddox space to operate. Interesting.
There's the block by Zaire Taylor, just batting it away.
Great effort from Taylor.
Leicester over the limit here in the first quarter as Zaire Taylor gets himself a break just before half-time. So Damon Hoffman will shoot 2 free throws, trying to cut it back to 10. Well, he won't be able to do that as he misses the first one.
Free throws and rebounds, Daniel, decide championships.
And he makes the second one. Neither team have shot very well from the free throw line so far. Newcastle actually winning the battle of the boards, although in part, if you miss more shots,
there's more rebounds to be had.
Williams drives in. Williams one-handed off the glass. Rowe fighting for it with Maddox, and I think Rowe's going to be called for his second foul, and it will be 2 free throws. So now Leicester have, 4 guys on 2, and so too to Newcastle, although 2 fouls at halftime you wouldn't be too concerned about. It was one of those things where they were early in the game, we worried about people getting to 3, and I think Rowe is going to come out of the game so that he doesn't get his third. Zaire Taylor will check in for him.
Well, the key thing is Newcastle were looking down the barrel at 15 points down. They could be looking to go into halftime on the 10th. And the Riders will have to, deal with the energy and the pressure of holding the lead for as long as they might need to hold it.
Maddox makes the first free throw. This to get it back into single figures with 100 seconds to play in the first half.
I think a big key is going to be, can Maddox get to halftime without his third foul, Daniel? That's going to be key if this title is not going to sit alongside the many proud titles Coach Paternoster has won this season.
Calvo onto Leszonski. Oh, Sullivan's underneath there, but they overcooked the pass, and Newcastle can cut this lead yet further here. Oh, Chapman just lost the ball for a second, recovered well. Pressure by Calvo, gets it onto Maddox. Smith now with Williams there.
Here comes the turnaround jump shot I was talking about.
He drives in. Yorick did well. I thought he did anyway.
I thought he did too, but that's...
knocked that ball loose, I thought, but the referee saw otherwise.
Well, to be fair to Yorick, he doesn't get too much, shall I say, rub of the green?
He just has a quick word with the official. Seek some clarification, I think, is the term. Smith with the line drive from the free throw line. Down to 8.
That's it.
Second one rattles out. Leszonski's there, but it's not loose by Ikamwin. Saved, but only to Taylor.
Yeah. Taylor breezes past Smith.
Gets it to Williams. Williams uses the basket well underneath to lay it in. Maddox is out in front here. Maddox drives in. Has it knocked loose slightly, but Ikamwin is there to help him out. Overcuts it. Smith with the rebound. Blocked by Taylor, I think it was. Here comes Calvo. One-on-one with Huffman. Calvo to the finger. Oh, good finish. And that's one of them. Could have been 2 here. Is 2 at the other end.
4-point turnaround.
Super block. And then Calvo went all the way. Huffman under pressure, throws it away. Taylor with the steal. Has Leszonski ahead of him if he needs him. He doesn't need him. Oh, he rejects the jam.
Maybe he did need him, Dan.
Yeah. Leicester come up with it, though, and the shot clock's been switched off, so they can have the final one. Probably took off from a little too far out there, Taylor, but he's got a chance to make amends here with the ball at the top of the key and 10 seconds to go to halftime.
Zaire Taylor sees himself as the big shot man, and I think he wanted to put an emphasis on this little run from the Riders.
Cross court to Sullivan. Sullivan fires up for 3. It doesn't go.
Great challenge.
It was a great challenge by Huffman diving out, but Leicester still in a dominant position here at halftime, Vince.
Andrew Sullivan is holding his team together. He's done everything the Riders needed. This is going to be a very, very exciting 2 quarters, Daniel.
Certainly is. Fab Flanoy, what will he be saying at halftime quickly?
Well, I think we got out of jail is what he'll be saying at halftime. Now let's get ourselves settled and get a bit more flow to our offense, and we can get back into this final.
Well, Leicester, we talked about defense. They've kept Newcastle to only 26 points in the first half here of the playoff final. We'll be back after the break.
Welcome back to Wembley Arena for the BBL Play-off final. A terrific first couple of quarters, and the Riders way ahead as well. Really impressive there. Ahead by 38 points to 26, and the Eagles are going to have some real soul-searching going on in this half-time break. Let's go straight over to Mark Woods, who is courtside with Newcastle's Joe Chapman.
Joe, just 3 points for you in that first half, and Newcastle really struggling so far.
Yeah, I mean, we got really good shots. We're just not knocking them down right now. But on the defensive end, we're not making stops. We got to get back and talk about it, and we got to make the right plays on defense. We're just not doing it right now.
We heard Fab talking a number of those timeouts about trying to get offensive rhythm. they're really taking you out of that. How do you break a good defensive team as Leicester out of that?
Well, they playing us really good defensively. We got a little bit of foul trouble. A lot of guys got 2 fouls early on, me, Maddox, and Smith. So we're just trying to get our rhythm, but we still got to continue to play defense.
Eagles just 30% shooting in that first half. I guess better has to come.
Yeah, better has to come. We have to perform a lot better if we want to be victorious.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Tony Windlass is still with me. Tony, all the focus on Newcastle's offense and how they are struggling.
Well, you look at Leicester defense, they just all over them. I mean, Charles Smith and Chapman, like Chapman said before, they had the shots, but it's a tough arena to shoot in. You have a lot of live rebounds, and one while they kept getting the ball back, but they keep shooting jump shots. And Leicester's just all over them, stopping them from getting inside. And on the other end for Leicester, they just get to the basket when they feel like it. And it should have been more points, but Leicester started shooting three-pointers one while, and that's how Newcastle got back in the game a little bit.
Okay, well, let's go straight back to Mark, who is courtside with Leicester's Jamel Anderson.
Jamel, I guess you couldn't be any happier with where Leicester are playing in that first half.
No, we've come out pretty strong. Defensively, we're really putting the effort in, rebounding, and it showed in the score.
They're obviously an offensive team, but we've heard a lot from their timeouts about the way that you completely shut them down offensively. Was that such a big part of the game plan coming in today?
Yeah, we're a big defensive team, so that's what we take pride in, and today we're showing that.
12-point lead at halftime. What more do you need in the second half? Just keep it on going?
Can't say again?
Do you need to keep this going in the second half? It's only a 12-point lead?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to keep it up all the way to the end.
Best of luck.
All right, thank you.
I suppose the thing is, when you're holding on to a lead for that long, it sometimes gets a bit hard, doesn't it, holding on to a lead?
Well, yeah, but like I said, you can't count Newcastle out because they've been in these situations before. If you remember the Cup game, Newcastle, everybody thought Newcastle was out, and they came back in the fourth quarter. Leicester still have to keep doing what they're doing, but they got to keep getting to the hole. Andrew Solomon is having a great game. Anderson came in off the bench and gave that extra energy, scored a couple of points, and if they can keep that up, keep getting to the hole, they can win this game.
Let's look at the Leicester Riders then and how well they started. I mean, they came out so quickly, didn't they? And a couple of three-pointers at the start, although both teams have struggled with three-pointers since then. And Leicester have just been so dominant in both offense and defense, really, haven't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, I talked to Rod earlier. He's saying, I know.
Here's Anthony Rowe defending.
Oh, yeah.
And, they've been really impressive, haven't they, Leicester?
Oh, yeah, great defense.
As Zaire Taylor had a lot of steals as well, didn't he? How impressive you've been with him.
Yeah, I saw this guy play against Plymouth the other night, a week ago, and his defense, his hand is so quick. Look at that. He's just in the lane at all times. He's looking for the steal.
What about Rob Paternostro then, because you've played under him for Leicester? What will he be saying to his team, you know, seeing this dominant performance from Leicester in the first half? What will he be saying to them in this break?
Well, I think he'll be happy right now, but he won a little bit more out of his team. I'm sure he's still screaming them down right now, let them know that they should have been up by more points. And on the other end, Newcastle, Fab, I know he's just going crazy right now, and I'm sure those guys will come out and pick it up.
It's been fun sitting next to you because you've been getting so animated about all these players trying for three-pointers but not quite getting them. Now explain why both teams are struggling a little with three-pointers.
Well, I know these guys is used to playing in small arenas, but this is a big arena, and I don't know what it is because it's so big, these guys is seeing something else. You know, if you look at the ceiling is so high, but when you're playing in Leicester and Newcastle, it's not that high. So these guys used to shooting in gyms like that. But this is a big arena, and the rims is hard, and you just got to get to the hole first and then ease your way out to the three-pointer.
Well, it's Leicester versus Newcastle in the main event here at the BBL Play-off final, but two school teams from those cities have been competing against each other today as part of Hoops for Health. And to find out a little bit more about that, we can cross back to Mark Woods now, who's with David Dunbar.
David, Commercial Director of the BBL. We'll hear about a little bit of Hoops for Health in a moment, but we can see behind you 9,500 people here today. Must be good times for the league.
Oh, I mean, it's a tremendous time for the league. We've seen like-for-like ticket sales across the league up 27%. People want to see basketball, and this is the third sellout final we've had this season. So it's a tremendously exciting time for the league.
Of course, British Basketball League goes beyond the courts and below the games. Hoops for Health, one of the biggest community schemes in the country. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Hoops for Health, it's probably our flagship CSR program. As a league, we have contact with about 250,000 kids each season. That's 2,000 primary schools, and it culminated here today in a great final between St Aloysius and Riverside schools.
So that final earlier, we saw that Newcastle coming out on top over the team from Leicester. Hasn't been an omen so far, but getting kids involved and reaching down to the grassroots, such a big thing for basketball in this country if it's going to continue to grow.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's the key to our participation rates, and we've had really great help from companies like Everyone Active. We've got Spalding just about to get involved in the league. We just announced that deal, and it's companies supporting us like that really drive the Hoops for Health program and everything else that we do.
Finally, we're heading into the off-season. What plans can you tell us about?
Obviously, Spalding is a major deal for us. That'll see every club in the league playing in Spalding from next season. But we've got lots more up our sleeve, and I'd say watch this space over summer. It's going to be an exciting season ahead for us.
No holidays for you. Thanks very much, David.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Still sitting alongside Tony Windlass, who is really, many people say, one of the all-time great players for the BBL. As someone who's been so involved for so long, and so many of the fans here are seeing you today and recognising you, how proud are you of where British basketball is right now?
Well, I'm really proud because one while it was going down, now it's picking back up, and you got a good group of guys together who's picking this game back up, and they bringing these young kids in it, like Hoop for Health, and they're doing a really good job with that, and it's getting bigger, and hopefully it get bigger and bigger every year.
And as far as this game goes, 9,500 fans here, an amazing atmosphere. And in terms of today's game, what do Newcastle need to do now? What will Fab Flournoy be saying?
Well, you don't want to know what he'll be saying, but I tell you what.
Can you give us the edited version?
I tell you, those guys, Charles Smith and Chapman, once they start making shots, they'll get back in the game. But when the pressure that Leicester put on you, you just have to get to the hole first to get those guys in foul trouble. And Maddox, he have to stay on the floor for them to win.
Tony, thanks very much indeed for now. We're really looking forward to the last half of the BBL season, the BBL Play-off final. The Riders have been very dominant so far. Can the Eagles fly back? We'll find out next. Welcome back to the BBL's showpiece occasion. 9,500 crammed into Wembley Arena for the BBL Play-off final. The Riders ahead at the moment. Can the Eagles fight back? Let's hand you straight over to your commentators, Vince McCauley and Dan Routledge.
Thank you very much, Tony. Well, if the Eagles are going to get back into it, they're going to have to shoot the ball a lot better than they did in the first half. And interestingly, Tony Windlass talking about Charles Smith and Joe Chapman, and we always do when it comes to Newcastle. Smith shooting 2 of 12, 17%, and Joe Chapman only 2 shot attempts in that first half.
Well, that comes from them being out of sync, as we talked about earlier on. Normally when you play the Newcastle Eagles, you expect them to establish Darius Defoe in and around the basket. That means your defense then has to come down to him. When that happens, it clears up a little bit of space for Smith and Chapman. Smith's taken a bunch of shots, but I'm not sure they're great shots, the ones he's taken. You know, I like the ball to move around, and then he becomes the last man receiving that pass, and he can knock it down. But right now, they need to sort out their sync issues. They've got to get Darius Defoe doing something under the basket. They've got to get Maddox slashing as he is to the basket and hope that creates some space. I think it's really important, Daniel, that Hoffman comes to the second half.
Yeah, Maddox only missed 1 shot in the game, 10 points, 4 rebounds. But he's played in a role that he's more than capable of playing, but slightly unusual in that he's had a lot more of the ball in his hands, having to dribble it down court and then go to work than perhaps he would ordinarily do.
Well, that's where you credit Coach Paternoster and the Riders' defense. You know, they're not necessarily trapping or pressing in any major way. I mean, we talked earlier on that was going to be one of the keys to the game. Could Hoffman withstand that? Right now, that defense is dictating.
The 2 teams have made it out onto court. Leicester with a 12-point lead as they bid to add the playoffs to the cup and the league that they've already won this season. Newcastle, who had all 4 trophies last summer, looking to hang on to this, the last one they have left. Smith steps down under pressure, converts, and Jay Kuznov picks up his 3rd personal foul on the first play.
Well, was always going to be a big decision whether it was going to be Cousinard's third that came along or Maddox's third, and that was going to dictate a lot of what happens in this second half.
Charles Smith with a chance for a three-point play as well to cut it back into single figures. And he converts it.
Indeed.
Huffman playing a little up-court pressure on Taylor. Trying to get the ball away from him. He's done well to trap him there. He's got to get rid of it. It'll be a 5-second violation. Got rid of it in time. Lusonsky to Rowe. He's blocked by Defoe.
Oh, Defoe, yes, sir.
And a good start by Newcastle. Smith driving in, goes straight to the glass. Overcooks it, gets his own rebound. Maddox comes up with the loose ball. Huffman drives in. Forced back out by the two bigs of Leicester. Chapman with a quick release three. Long rebound comes out to Cousinard. Cousinard to Sullivan walked with it, did he? Yes. It was the little fake of the shot, and he's called for the travelling violation. Huffman. 9 points between the teams. Minute into the second quarter. Offensive foul called off the ball. Smith and Chapman were there. Not sure which one of them it's on.
One of them's going to have three.
It's Joe Chapman who's called for the foul. Blocking foul. I assume trying to set a screen. I was looking the other way, so I assume he was trying to set a screen.
Yep.
Let's see if we
you
can
see him
from
trying
here.
He was actually trying to free Charles Smith coming off. Here he comes here. Oh, wow. That was a tough one.
Yeah. Here's Sullivan at the other end. Throws it high, and Taylor did well to catch that. Taylor driving through, dumps it off to Cousinard, and he is fouled on the floor. So it won't be 2 free throws. It'll be a Leicester ball from the end.
Who was that foul on?
Defoe must have been.
Wow, okay. It'll be his first foul if it is.
Referee just having a word with Rowan Defoe as they fight for position on the low block. Cousinard trying to break through the screen. Gets it out in the corner. Here's Rowe. Rowe penetrating. Throws it out to Cousinard. Shot clock down to 5. He drives in, fires up high. Off the back of the ring, doesn't go. Tipped down by Maddox to Chapman. And Newcastle get it back. Still only 9 between them.
How quickly this ball moves is the key. There he is.
Smith fires it up for 3, doesn't go, and Maddox is going to be called for a pushing foul over the back of Lusonsky, and that's his third personal foul. He said which one of them is going to get to 3 first. They both got there pretty quickly.
Now who's going to live with who? Will Rod live with Cousinard out there a bit longer than Fabulous might live with Maddox out there?
Well, at the moment, they're both out there. Neither, in fact, they're stood right next to each other. Taylor drives past Huffman to the lay-in for 2.
Breakdown in communications there. The Newcastle Eagles defense forces you to the baseline, and the trap is supposed to come, and nobody can.
Maddox drives in against Lusonsky, who's on 3, of course. Defoe fires up off the back of the ring. Maddox with the offensive rebound.
Ball movement, that's it. Smith. Cousinard on 3, can't do anything about this.
Smith drives to the hole, and that's good recognition by Charles Smith.
Always looks knackered, Charles Smith, but he keeps it going.
Sullivan with Taylor coming up top. Steps inside. Still Taylor going. Travelling violation is called on Zaire Taylor.
Yep. Well, there's a lull going on at the moment.
There is, yeah.
And if Newcastle come out of this with something, then they'll take the initiative here. So Leicester have to be very careful.
Smith trying to lose Sullivan for a second. Shot to the alley-oop and jammed in by Defoe, and Smith waves to the crowd to get the Newcastle fans going. Here's another look. Super pass.
Absolutely. Well converted, Maddox. They need that athleticism of Maddox there.
Cousinard gets it down to Sullivan. Gamble by Chapman. Did enough to put him off. Sullivan there tips in as Lusonsky couldn't.
Yep. Well, Lusonsky kept it alive. you know, and Sullivan able to convert that. 9-point ball game. Oops.
It's been pretty much basket for basket here in this third period.
Cousineau on three, he's got to watch out. Boom, that's Chapman for two. Who blinks first, Dan?
Well, it doesn't look like either of them is the answer.
Gunfight at the OK Corral. There he is. Rises high. Beautiful.
Cousineau to Rowe. Lobbed into Sullivan. Sullivan goes up a little too strong on that. Yep. Turns to the referee and says that was a foul.
It's 5 on 4.
Ignores him. Smith with the quick release three off the back of the ring. It'll come all the way out to Leszonski, and here comes Taylor. Smith's gone down at the other end, and that will be a foul on Hoffman.
Smith's gone down, and I think
he's
Joe
slow
Chapman
back
has
to
pulled
his
a
feet.
hamstring as well, Daniel.
Oh, is he? I can't keep up with everything going on.
If we get a shot of Chapman in the mid-court, we'll see him bending over.
You see there, he bashed into Hoffman Smith. Didn't see quite what happened to Chapman.
Chapman actually hasn't moved from that spot. He's still at mid-court. He hasn't moved at all. Now he's moved. Trying to find out.
Well, he seems to be walking okay as Rose sits down and Anderson comes back in for Leicester. It'll be 2 free throws for Zaire Taylor. Riders' lead is currently 7. It's bounced between 7 and 11 since halftime.
Knocks it down. Chapman gave the nod to Fabulous that he was okay.
He makes them both. 9 again, as it seems to have been almost every time Newcastle have brought the ball down in this second half. Defoe to Maddox. Maddox has a little space along the baseline. Good block by Anderson. Oh, kept alive. There's Defoe and Maddox in there.
Kept
Couldn't
second and third efforts.
Sullivan calls out. Leszonski fakes it the 3, drives inside, dumps it off towards Anderson, but out of bounds. It was one of there where if Anderson was half a step further forward, he'd have been jamming it down wide. I suppose conversely if the pass was half a step further back.
Ooh. Yeah, good effort. As Anderson pleads for a ball. Nothing doing. The game is being decided at this point.
Hoffman crosses over.
Great defense, Taylor, forcing Hoffman to his weaker left hand.
Defoe, shot clock getting low here. Do they see this? Smith has a look at the clock. He's got to get it off. I don't think he's got it off in time. It won't count. 24-second violation. And that's the other thing that you'll kind of forget with Leicester's defense is they make it hard just to get a shot up, never mind in.
Well, absolutely. Not just the shots now. They make it hard getting these guys getting the ball off the floor. You know, Hoffman is having a battle to get that ball up into a dangerous area.
Calvo back into the game for Leicester with Taylor getting a break. Leszonski. Sullivan running baseline. Calvo curls back out to the ball. Sullivan. Leszonski. Fakes at it, drives inside. So goes up. Good work from Defoe. I'm not sure.
Nowhere to go there.
Yeah. It's good defense. Maddox with the crossover, drives to the middle, dumps it into Defoe.
Pass.
Defoe can't convert though, and Cousineau up high for the rebound. Cousineau with the crossover, drives to the basket. Beautiful play.
Oh, beautiful.
And Leicester have been at their best when they've attacked the basket.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're sort of caught in the catch-22 as to whether to push on or hold it, and that's what's been holding them back.
Hoffman dumps off to Defoe, who finishes.
Beautiful finish off the glass for 2. Darius Defoe.
Well, neither team able to gain the upper hand here in the third quarter. They've gone virtually score for score. Cousineau to Sullivan for 3. Sullivan hits from behind the arc. And that gives Leicester a 12-point lead.
Big basket, Andrew Sullivan. 1 minute is tipping on the second rebound, the next minute he's hitting a 3. He got a blow on the nose there.
Smith, he pulls up for three off the back of the ring and over the top out of bounds. Subs both ways as Rowe comes in and Flanoy comes in. Haven't yet seen Zashonsky sitting down for Leicester, and it's Defoe for the Eagles.
Fab Flanoy.
Well, they're the Riders fans, bedecked in red, easy to spot. Sullivan lobs it in towards Anderson, did well to catch it, did even better to go back up for two.
He caught it, touched the ground with it and put it in.
Amazing athleticism from Anderson just to get up and catch the ball, and then somehow he found a way back up to basket. Stolen away by the Riders again, Sullivan off and running. Sullivan will jam it down! And he's got plenty to say about that too! The Newcastle Eagles call a timeout, but the GB captain was out on the break here, and he threw it down with authority, and boy did he like that!
Looked like Thor flying through the air with his hammer. Goodness me, Andrew Sullivan laying down the law at Wembley.
And the Leicester Riders lead, we said, basket for basket, but now Leicester have stretched it out to a 16-point lead, but again, it was defense that they've turned into fast break points. You think of Kuznor getting to the basket, you think of Sullivan there on the jam. That's almost the way they've scored their points to get ahead.
Transition, Daniel, that's the way they're going to score. Newcastle have a set play defensively, and what they're going to do when you get into that half-court game, they can put a blanket on you. But in that transition, the athletes of the Leicester Riders just too strong, just too quick for the Newcastle Eagles.
And we keep talking about it. 37 points for the Newcastle Eagles. A very low number. This is a team that averages best part of 90 points a game, and through 28 minutes, only 37 on the ball.
That's right, and it's the Leicester Riders defense that's dictating how the Eagles can play. The Eagles want to sit back and hit those three-point shots, and Newcastle is saying, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to match you physically around the basket.
Yorick Williams back into the game. You think back, I mean, he plays in short bursts these days. Yorick is getting towards the end of his career. But you think back to that three-point shot that he hit in the first quarter. That was a big thing for Leicester to gain some momentum.
Absolutely critical, and he will play top defense.
Here's Maddox against Anderson. Maddox driving in, loses it, gets it back. Still trying to find some space. Gets it to Flanoy. Flanoy out to Hoffman for three. They need this. They don't get it.
It's going to be a long night.
Kuznor traveled with it.
I didn't think he did.
He was going to throw the outlet pass to Anderson and then spun around and threw it back to Calvo.
Yeah, I thought he threw it down.
It's one of those where it looks illegal, therefore it must be, is it? I don't know.
I thought he jumped up and realized there was no pass there and then just it behind himself. But never mind. Hoffman gets a break. He needed one, and here comes Anthony Martin. Hoffman is disappointed here, Daniel, in terms of being able to produce. They've worn him out.
Smith trying to go against Kuznor again, and
what's the same result?
Calvo guarded by Martin. 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter of the BBL Play-off final. That's broken up by Maddox. Flanoy has it away. Chapman has Martin ahead of him. Chapman, did he walk with it? Yes, he did. On the stutter, he sort of picked the ball up and kind of got out of control.
Thank God I'm not a referee. I think we've got 6 riders on the floor. Someone needs to sit down.
It's Kuznor who's coming cross-court, and Sullivan who's coming back in.
That was a quick break.
Well, he doesn't get many, Drew Sullivan. I remember talking to Rob after a game where he said, oh, I think I rotated the guys in pretty well. Everybody got 20-something minutes. It was after they'd won the league title. And looked at the box score, and Sullivan had 35 minutes. So I was like, yeah, he didn't quite get 20. Sullivan inside. Oh, jammed in by Jamal Anderson.
The one-handed cup. That's the one-handed cup from Anderson there. Everyone in Loughborough rising high.
Sullivan going to work, doesn't go, but there's Anderson.
Boom. Have some of that, says the young fella.
Chapman shot is short. Rebound Calvo. Calvo wisely slows it down. Sullivan for three. Doesn't quite go. Maddox grabs the rebound. into the final minute of the third quarter.
There's the same matchup, same play, but it's a different matchup. This time it's Sullivan. Who knows what to expect?
Dumped inside, not loose. Newcastle come down with it. Maddox is blocked. Goaltender's caught. It was Sullivan getting up there to try and throw that one out.
Playing with a vengeance is Andrew Sullivan. Kareem Maddox able to convert.
.45 seconds to go here. Leicester by 14. They came into this quarter with a 12-point lead. And they're looking to go out of it with a slightly bigger one. Calvo. Williams. Shot clock into single figures. Williams to Rowe. Rowe, Calvo in the corner, spots up for three. Doesn't quite go. Newcastle can have the last attempt here at the third quarter. So Leicester may not go in with any bigger lead, go out than any bigger lead than they came in with. Flanoy. Flanoy looking for some options, some help, finds Martin.
5.
Chapman, does he see the clock? Yes, he does. Gets a shot off. And it is short. And the Leicester Riders started the quarter with a 12-point lead. They finished the quarter with a 14-point lead. They show no signs of relenting at the defensive end.
Not at all, and defense is not going to relent. We talked in the middle of that quarter there, Daniel, the game was being decided who would blink first. Lo and behold, the Eagles have blinked.
Well, they certainly have. Leicester 10 minutes away from ending their best ever season. Will it end with a third trophy? Find out when we come back with fourth quarter action after this. Welcome back to Wembley. BBL Play-off Final 2013, where but for 47 seconds, the Leicester Riders fans have seen their team ahead in this game. Newcastle only ahead for less than a minute in the entire total of the game, Vince.
It's a Red Sea here, and it's the Red of the Riders that's taking over in this playoff final. A tremendous showpiece for the BBL, and the team that's been the best team so far this season is dominating.
But when these two teams met in the cup final in January at the National Indoor Arena, Leicester had a good lead going into the fourth. Newcastle came back to lead with a minute to go. Newcastle with the steal on the first play of this final period. Huffman drives in, blocked by Taylor again. He's been blocking shots left, right and centre here today, Zaire Taylor.
He's up for this one. He likes the big games, Daniel, and he's had Huffman in his pocket the whole game. Sullivan
backing down on Smith. Out to Rowe. I thought Rowe was going to take a three for a minute there. He takes his more customary free throw line jumper. Loves that shot from the elbow.
Absolutely
more often than not, it goes in.
Yep, just like that.
Here's another look defensively. How well Zaire Taylor has been all season, if truth be told, but today as well.
Oh, all season. And as far as he's concerned, he's just like he's playing in the park. You know, he comes ready to play and gives it his all, and that's what he's done today.
Defoe spins on Rowe. Good defense from Rowe, but tremendous finish from Defoe.
Tremendous effort from Darius. Looks full of energy. He might be someone we can look to if you're a Newcastle fan.
Taylor. Sullivan left open for three. Dangerous move that. He doesn't convert, and Defoe pulls in the rebound.
Anthony Martin with some speed. Wow.
Well, he
there he
spins
goes
back,
again.
trying to get Anderson to foul him. Oh, Flanoy knocks it loose, but Sullivan comes up with it. Taylor, will he pull up for three? Yes, he will. Won't hit it, though. Yeah. Leicester going for threes, almost like a knockout blow here.
Yeah, we're going up and down here. Just,
that'll be a kickball violation on Anderson.
Thought he was about to throw that away, Hoffman.
And Rob Paternoster just shouting at Zaire Taylor, go to the basket. He didn't like that pull-up three. It's one of them, if it goes in, coach loves it. Other than that, he doesn't.
Nope.
Flanoy just about gets it into Martin. He was trapped on the line a little bit there. Chapman was ready to come. Oh, that's thrown away by Flanoy, straight to Sullivan. They did used to be teammates a few years ago now.
Chapman's waiting to come into this game. I mean, I think Smith needs to sit out. Maddox needs to get back in here.
Calvo. Sullivan. It's almost like Smith's baiting him into shooting another three.
Yep.
Anderson, shot clock getting low. Does he see it? The crowd is counting it down. Rowe is fouled, is he? I think Defoe bashed into him. Yes, that's the call.
Wow.
And they were trying to say Newcastle it was a shot clock violation, but he got bumped first.
Yep.
And you see, watch here as Defoe comes running out. He knows the shot clock's low, and he just knocks him backwards.
Yep.
And probably it would have been a travel if you don't call a foul.
Exactly.
Certainly would have been a 24-second violation.
And that's what the refs were mindful of. Riders ball, 7:33 remaining.
They lead by 14. They've led by double figures for most of the game as well. Taylor, Rob Paternostro, he will never think it's done until the buzzer sounds. Sullivan into Rowe. Shot clock getting low on Leicester again here. Kuznod has to fire it up, does fire it up. Hits all string straight off the bench, and he hits a big three.
All string, Jay Kuznod.
Well, Chapman replies at the other end with three of his own.
Anything you can do, says Chapman.
Taylor onto Sullivan. Kuznod penetrates in, fires it up, gets his own rebound, tries again, but neither of those hit the ring, so it's not a reset of the shot clock, but it is a Leicester ball with 4 seconds on that shot clock.
Newcastle trying to find something to resist the Riders' tide right now.
Inline ball, which Kuznod will jog over to take. It's lobbed to Sullivan.
Shot must go up.
Oh, ooh. Sullivan loses it. Thrown out long to Smith. Taylor chasing him back. Slows him down and then fouls him. Will that count?
I think it will count.
Will it?
No basket.
No, didn't think so. It was a
foul.
It looked like Taylor was trying to foul him because he knew the defense wasn't back. Only the second foul on Zaire Taylor, so a smart one. Although Calvo comes running to the bench, does that mean he's coming in for him? No, it's in for Rowe. So Leicester going a bit smaller now.
Yeah.
And that's the versatility Sullivan gives you, isn't it? Because as Defoe lays in, Sullivan can play the big man. He can play 5. We've seen him play point guard.
He can play every spot.
Oh, Calvo's lost that. Ooh. Gets it back.
Wanted a foul there, the Riders fans.
Taylor goes back the other way. Oh, Chapman's down, he's hurt. Sullivan's inside, Sullivan's under pressure. Flanoy comes down with it, but Chapman's still struggling. Don't know what happened to him.
I think he got an elbow just below the ribs there.
Okay. So he should be able to shake it off. Hoffman drives to the basket, lays it in, cuts it back down to 10. And with 6 minutes to go, Rob Paternostro forced into a timeout.
Both sets of players have given huge amount of credit because they just don't want to lie down. Here comes a little screen on Chapman.
There we go. He just
sends him to the winded and sends him to the floor. You know, but really no one wants to back down. The Eagles trying to find something, Daniel.
Well, this is their time now. If they're going to make the run, the Newcastle Eagles, it has to be now. They cannot leave it any longer with only 6 minutes remaining in this game. They've got to try and get it down to, if they get it down to 4-5, then Leicester might start to doubt themselves.
Well, they may well start to doubt themselves, Daniel, but the GB captain, Andrew Sullivan, has stamped his authority all over this game all night long. He's not going to let that happen unless somehow Chapman and Smith find their shooting boots and Hoffman finds some other way to the basket rather than the very, very difficult shot he just made. I don't see how else they can come back. Right now, the Riders have everything in their favor, and Flanoy has to find some inspiration from one of those guys I just mentioned.
21 points for Sullivan, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. He's turned the ball over a few more times than he would have liked, but apart from that, it's the only blot on his copybook.
Whatever his team needs, and the fans are roaring them on right now.
Well, you get the feeling that those Leicester fans remember the cup final, remember seeing Newcastle come back at about this sort of time, and as much as they enjoyed the thrill of that victory, they'd much rather it be not so close at the end. Newcastle come in with some full court pressure, Leicester just having to adjust to it. Calvo crosses the halfway line, hands it over to Anderson. Anderson trying to get it to Taylor, does. Taylor penetrates in, Kuznar's open for three in the corner, a little short. Anderson can't quite get there and the ball bounces down. Smith throws it.
Knocked away
and
by
it was knocked loose by
Sullivan,
so it'll be an Eagles ball.
Wow, punch for punch right here.
Huffman. Flanoy wants it because he fancies the matchup against Calvo on that switch. Leicester switching all the screens at the minute. Defoe drives in, sees a little gap, goes to the basket, not quite.
Strong play from Darius.
And it was one of those things on those switches, they forgot about the ball for a second and just gave Darius a lane.
Absolutely. This is a significant moment, whether they can get it under 10 as we approach the 5-minute mark, Daniel. Darius back here at home in London, playing in front of his family and friends, will want to do something about this lead that the Riders and Coach Pat Nostro have.
First one is good, down to 9.
That's where we were earlier in the third.
Yeah. 7, I think, was as close as they've been in the second half. And it stays at 9, and Anderson is first to it. Calvo goes down hard, gets back up though. Sullivan throws it back to him. He'll have to get it over the halfway line.
Oh, yes,
and actually, Sullivan should have just gone over the halfway line and then given it back to him.
And Huffman saw that straight away. He just stopped that one dribble and he put his hands up in the air because he knew. Look, right there.
He just had too far to go to get over the... you've got to cross the halfway line inside 8 seconds.
Yep. Chapman, straight to the bucket.
Nowhere to go, has to go to the fall away, a little short. Defoe with the rebound, walked with it. And he's arguing with the referee, and he needs to calm down. The referee's told him to calm down. I assume he's arguing that he got pushed.
That's what he'll be arguing, that he got pushed and he chose to pass the ball out, which is a fair point, but the referee must administer the rules.
Let's have a look.
There's the catch.
Oh, he got pushed by Flanoy, did he?
Yeah, yeah.
Unless it was somebody else pushing Flanoy is, I suppose, one option. Taylor. Sullivan to Kuznarov. Kuznarov picks it up, needs some help now, gets it out to Taylor. Taylor down to Sullivan, shot clock at 5. Sullivan with a tough, oh my goodness.
Tough basket. As good as it gets, Daniel.
I mean, that's just degree of difficulty. That's right up there. High archer. Huffman misses. Rebound Anderson.
That was a tough drive. Good effort. Great defense.
Sullivan still going. Sullivan kicks it out to Kuznarov, onto Calvo. In the corner is Taylor. Back down low they go to Sullivan. Sullivan in beast mode right now. That's knocked away and will be a Leicester ball. Sullivan saying there was a foul in there, wasn't there? There was 2 of them on me.
And Darius Defoe checks his elbows for blood and says, no, let's go. Andrew Sullivan putting that team on his back.
Well, there was certainly contact between the 2 of them. You pick it out. Calvo bounces it, he didn't get in. Yep. It's where you land, not where you... Sorry, it's where you take off from, not where you land. Yes. He hadn't quite got into court in time and established himself inside the line. Lob towards Huffman. Anderson almost got there. There's Chapman in the corner. Big shot for 3. They need it. They don't get it. Batted loose. And it's Taylor's going to be called for a foul as Smith went up for the catch. And everybody's arguing now. Chapman saying he got fouled. Anderson saying he got fouled. Smith Taylor said, I didn't commit a foul.
I'm just waiting for Smith to say I was attempting to shoot on that one. Oh, I think he did get hit after that shot. But here's Smith with that ball.
That's one of those, whoever gets the ball, their hands on the ball first, going to draw the foul. Because there's a collision coming.
We must credit these two teams now. They put on an absolutely terrific exhibition of British basketball.
Newcastle possession from the side, trailing by 11 with 4 minutes to play in the BBL Play-off final. Illinois just under a bit of pressure there, got it to Defoe. Chapman backs out. Chapman pulls up for three. That one's short. That long rebound for Illinois will chase and keep alive, but only to Kuznod. And Leicester is wisely slowing it down here. They could have had a fast break, but the clock very much their friend right now.
Absolutely. 11-point ball game. Just under the 4-minute mark.
Taylor. Calvo. Sullivan. Sullivan under pressure. Not quite, there's a foul called. And he will, I think, go to the line for two free throws. Yes, he will. Just waited to see whether the referee would call that. And I said earlier, Vince, these two teams, as a timeout has been called, these two teams competed in the lowest scoring BBL playoff final last year, combining for 133 points, 71-62, both record lows for winning and losing teams. We could beat all of those, such has been the defense on display today.
We certainly could, and I'm sure the rest of the fans will be hoping the result will be the other way around. It's great that these two teams saw us out of the season last year, and here they are again. It just shows a real credit to their organizations. I mean, let's not take away anything from either of these teams, whoever comes out victorious. The Eagles, tremendous organization, and the players are showing tremendous guts right now to hang in there. The Riders came in here with a game plan and just executing it step by step everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's funny because we all knew what was going to happen. They were going to pressure the ball. They were going to make every shot difficult. They're going to keep it low scoring as they can. And Newcastle had the firepower, 90-point-a-game team. Only 50, I know we've said it over and over again, only 51 points with 3.5 to play.
Absolutely, and the good thing is we don't play these games on paper. You have to step on the floor and get it done. And right now, the guys in white are struggling to get it done against the guys in black.
Well, Andrew Sullivan will walk to the free throw line, and I joked earlier that he'd had to have an extension to his trophy cabinet with all the awards he's won over the last 12 months or so. And as the only player on Leicester's team in double figures with 23 points, make that 24, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals. He could be in line for another prize come the end of this game.
I think he very much could be. But what he's exhibiting here is what it's like to be a pro at the top level.
Anderson trying to fight for that rebound, and Sullivan. It's good outlet pass to Hoffman. Hoffman goes up and saw Sullivan coming at him.
Well protected.
And smartly moved to make that lay-in. Leicester's lead is down to 10. 3 minutes to go.
I'm looking at Newcastle defensively, thinking what can they do differently defensively to stop this tide? And they can't press, they're not quick enough, they can't trap. They're just trying to make the shots as awkward as it can be.
Well, that was making it awkward as Kuznod converts. 3 minutes to play. 12-point Leicester lead. In some ways, it's what can they do at this end of the floor, because 53 points isn't going to win a game.
No. Ooh.
Defoe manages to get past 2 Leicester players chasing a block.
He's made some tough shots tonight with the Leicester arms right up there challenging him. 10 points.
Chapman all over Kuznod as he came for that loose ball. Kuznod backs out, looks at the shot clock. It's down to 6. Now he's going to work. Kuznod drives in hard, short on that one.
He can't get the ball out of there.
But it took another 24 seconds off the clock. And in some ways, that's just as valuable. Chapman drives in travel.
That's too many steps. And that's what the defense is doing. All that hard work in the first 3 quarters, Daniel, for the Riders is paying off now as the Eagles start to drag.
And that's something that perhaps we overlook, because if you look at the games where Leicester have played this year, there's been a lot of games as they come from behind, double figures behind on the road. We obviously think about Manchester, but even in the playoff quarter-final at your place, you had a good lead against them, 14, 15 points. But it's that wearing pressure that eventually, over the course of 40 minutes, really takes its toll.
Absolutely. And look at this. The Eagles have got the ball. Nobody can run ahead of the basketball. Nobody. You know, Illinois is not the quickest with the ball. Led the way on that fast break.
Good hands from Taylor to knock it loose. Who'd it touch last? Referees are going to have a compensation because I think they both pointed in opposite directions. And which way will they give it? It's impossible for us to see. They're going to give it to Newcastle. And the Leicester fans behind the bench are going nuts.
Naturally.
As you would expect. But they're 96 seconds away here, barring one of the great comebacks.
And it would have to be one of the great comebacks. Like a bucket right here.
Huffman driving in. Flanoy is called for the foul. And Huffman is having a word with the referee. He thought he was fouled. I thought it was one of them where if Sullivan was a bit further out, it might be a charge, but he's too deep under the... We'll see. Yeah. We'll see here on the replay. He's inside the zone, so it can't be a charge. He's standing for a charge, so it's a good no call.
I think that's actually a defensive foul because you can't take a charge in the circle. Do we not have that rule, Daniel?
Yeah, you can't take the charge, but that doesn't mean it's automatically a defensive foul. It's just a no call, which is what the referee... Yeah. Here's Calvo. Newcastle, you think, might be in foul mode here, but they haven't done so far. The shot clock's not on. Whoops. The shot clock wasn't on. Rob Paternoster is arguing, but he won't mind if some time accidentally disappears somewhere or other. It was one of those things where you think the shot clock's got to be relatively low. I'll have a look, see what it is, and there was nothing on it.
I think Rob will be thinking, I'll have a look, and if they put some on there, I'll live with it if it's under 14.
Well, they got the visual back. It's just a question of what they are going to put onto the shot clock. As big a number as possible would do for Paternoster. 13, that'll do. That'll do.
He'll take that.
Calvo to inbound for Leicester. Gets it to Anderson. They just lost him, and he almost bobbled it. He was thinking, what shall I do? Which dunk shall I pull out?
What kind of dunk can I give the kids? That's what he was thinking.
But he made sure he got the two. And Leicester are just over a minute away from a historic treble. The greatest ever season for the oldest team in British basketball is going to have a silver and gold lining, because in a minute's time they're going to get themselves the playoffs for the second time ever in their history. And just talk for a minute, Vince, about this Leicester team. This is a club that have bounced along the bottom for a long time during their history. They've been borderline playoffs on average through their history. Yep. And what a season they've had this year with the treble.
Absolutely. And, you know, the key is getting somebody in there who has a system and a style in which he wants to play. Coach Rob Paternoster came in here with a style he wanted to play. He wanted younger players with the odd veteran head in the team, and that's what he's got. And what that has done is energized the entire franchise. And the players have all bought into that. Very much a team effort. As you can see with the GB captain on the floor, and then a player who plays for him at the Loughborough University, Jamal Anderson, showing the whole gamut of what Riders basketball is about.
And exactly on that play, you saw Jamal Anderson chasing a block. There's 30 seconds to go. You're winning by 12 in the playoff final. It doesn't matter. But they committed to defense so much that until the buzzer sounds, they don't stop playing defense.
Absolutely, and I think when they stood together in the practice facility at the start of the season and committed themselves to what they wanted to do, the end wasn't 30 seconds to go in the playoff final. The end was when everything was over, and everything is not yet over, because we do still have 30 seconds to play, and they will carry themselves with the same manner that they've carried themselves all season long.
Well, Kareem Maddox there had fouled out of the game. He ended up with 12 points and 8 rebounds.
He was the only one that could have made any difference to the Newcastle Eagles today, and unfortunately he couldn't stay on the floor long enough.
Zaire Taylor makes the second free throw.
We talked about 7-3 and under as being the magic number, Daniel.
Huffman with the pull-up three is short. Rebound, and the shot clock's almost switched off now. There's about half a second differential, but Leicester can basically run this down. Fab has called the fouls off, and Leicester are ticking down to the most historic season in their history. It's almost finished. Smith is going to commit a foul, actually. He doesn't want it to end like that. He wants 2 more free throws.
I don't know how he wants it to end, but it's over. As the bakery lady said, it's done, and it's fitting that it's Andrew Sullivan who comes over here.
71 points, the lowest by a winning team in playoff history. Newcastle had that last year. Worthing in 1994. It's going to be better this year, barring an offensive rebound. And there's nobody in there. They're not going to get an offensive rebound. But it doesn't matter how many points you score, just that you score more than the other team. And they have done that, the Leicester Riders. And Chapman, will he fire one up? Smith will. Smith will fire it up for three. It's short, and the Leicester Riders have won the treble, the BBL Play-off, added to the cup in the league, and look how they celebrate Rob Paternostro and his team, and they're jumping on Sullivan here. They're going absolutely nuts, and it's great to see a team that's been so successful celebrate so wildly at the end of a play.
It's the joy, Daniel, it's the joy and the love of the game, the joy to play, and it's been enthused by all of them, all the riders. I mean, top to bottom, I can see Chairman Kevin Routledge, Yorick Williams, all of them celebrated in there, Dan. What can I say? But Rob has really infused these guys with some great love of British basketball, and they've just done it night in and night out. Long trips to Plymouth, tough games up at Newcastle, down I don't know how many points at Manchester, and it's just shown through all the way. It's a real credit to Rob Paternostro.
It certainly has, and he's a man who never switches. I mean, so too Fab. Here's a guy. How much, if we just, well, actually, if we can cut from that for a second, Vince, Mark has the Leicester Riders captain, I believe, down courtside.
Barry, what a tremendous performance, and Leicester, what a tremendous season for the Riders.
I mean, it's been an unbelievable season since January, when we won the Cup, to now winning the league, the playoffs. I mean, it's a dream come true right now. It's been a long time coming for the organisation. It's been well worth it.
You've been with this club such a long time. You've seen the good days and the bad days. What's so special about this team?
Well, thanks for reminding me I'm old, but yeah, I'll be with what? It's a team. There's no other way to describe it than it's a true team. Everyone knows what they're doing on the team, and everyone comes together at the right time. It's what a team's made of.
Rob Paternostro, talk about his role in guiding this squad to a domestic treble.
Well, Rob knows exactly what he's doing. He goes to the right place at the right time. That's all he does.
Well done. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Barry.
Cheers, Mark.
Well, you knew it was coming. You knew they weren't going to leave him alone. And it's been a tremendous atmosphere between the team. You can see they get on. They released a spoof album on the internet as well. You can see how much they enjoy each other's company, how much they enjoy playing with each other.
Well, winning carries on. You know, when you win, you love winning. It sort of infuses everyone, and basically that's what's happened with Leicester. They're loving what's going on since January, as I said, but it wasn't since January. It was Rob plotting it all along.
And Mark's got in there again. He's got Jay Kuznov with him.
Jay, celebrations behind you, deserved. This team this season, talk about the secret of this success.
Oh yeah, we worked so hard all season, man. From day one, we've been in the gym working hard. Every practice,
my brother, man.
Every practice, man, work hard. This team's like a family, man. It's like a family brother, so it means so much to us.
We always knew this was going to be a game about the Riders' defense, holding Newcastle to just 57 points. Is that just down to effort, or are you just a smart team? Talk about why this has happened night in, night out this season.
I mean, I said it on the bench when the score was like 50-50 and Drew got a steal. I said, man, our team defense is amazing, man. You know, we got 3 people on the defensive team. And I think that's only because they couldn't put all 5 of us on it, you know, all 12 of us. So our defense is amazing, man. I've never been on a team that plays such good defense.
What about these fans? We see them right up behind you right now, all with the red T-shirts on, standing up. Tremendous support from Leicester.
Yeah, they've been supporting us all year, man. Home games, road games, neutral sites, everywhere. They supported us all year, so credit to them, man. This is for them, man. This is for them for a long time.
Go and enjoy the party. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
It's right a long time it has been for many of those Riders fans. You know, many of whom would never have seen their team win. It was a decade or more since they won anything, and certainly never seen anything like this before.
Well,
what an amazing season it's been for them.
This is what they do now, Daniel. This is what they do. When you believe, this is what happens. And Rob has made them believe, and that's what's happening right now. It's contagious to every single rider in the house.
Well, they're going to do the presentation now, and this is the moment that Newcastle Eagles wouldn't want to have faced again. And it's interesting when you watch these things. Fab Fournier is always right up at the front, facing it. It's almost like he's punishing himself that he didn't get it done today, and to remind himself to do it next year,
well,
to fuel him.
There's a way in which you have to be, Daniel, and you have to be committed. There's no halfway house. You have to be committed. And Fab Flournoy is 100% committed to everything he's about, and that's what he's trying to do with his team. Set that tone. You know, Hoffman came in this season, came into a storied franchise, unfortunately unable to help them continue. But they'll be plotting this. This is going to hurt. All of this season is going to hurt Fab Flournoy and his men.
Well, the players go up and get their medals, but really, now it's one of those things they just want to get back to the locker room. They say it every time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever knows where the runners-up medals finish, do they? Do they? They all get one, but they're never quite sure where they are if you ask them in 2 or 3 years.
I think we all know where they end up. It's not where they want it to be, that's for sure.
And now the Eagles, well, they've done their bit. This is the bit the Leicester Riders fans had come in hope, some possibly in expectation as well, given the season they'd had. It's always hard to expect anything when you're playing Newcastle Eagles.
I was going to say in trepidation, maybe some of them. But you know, when you look across at Newcastle, it might be. But really, what the Riders are saying now is they're a franchise to be respected. They're at the top of their game. They have all the tools in place, and they deserve to be at the top table.
Well, they've got special tracksuits on. I don't know if they say champions. It does. It does say champions. They've broken them out.
And the lucky horseshoes looks on there. Here we go. A big shout out to the general manager, Daniel Russell Levinson, who can't be here today. He's in hospital with his son. But he'll be as excited as everybody in this building for the Riders.
They certainly will. And the Leicester Riders start to celebrate. And they start to get their winners' medals. It's a process that they're used to. And just a word for Reece Haygood as he goes up. His brother diagnosed with leukemia. How wonderful for him to take back to show Ellis the day he was at Wembley and won a medal.
Absolutely, and that's great for the family. Just like they're all a family, you know. Yorick Williams, Connor Washington, they played as a family this year.
And Jamal Anderson, what a great job he did again in the big final as a guy.
They didn't miss a beat, did they, when Lozonski went out? You know, he did a terrific job. Lozonski contributed all season long, but tonight wasn't able to do what he normally does. Anthony Rowe, a real handful.
And Rob Paternostre, the BBL Coach of the Year twice now in his career, gets his third winner's medal as a head coach.
Fantastic for Rob. Fantastic for all his hard work and preparation.
And this is the moment they've been waiting for. Barry Lamble comes up. There it is, the beautiful silver and gold basketball. He'll just turn and pose for the cameras, and he'll milk it as well. He'll milk it.
You might want to put that medal in his pocket. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. He's ready. Comes to the stand. Here it is. The Leicester Riders are the BBL Play-off champions for 2013. They are the treble champions for 2013. There has never been a season like this in the history of Leicester basketball. They will be talking about this campaign for many, many years to come.
Absolutely well deserved for everyone. Barry didn't get on the floor today, but you could see him on the bench there willing his team on every single second. Fantastic. Fantastic for the guys. And a loyal servant to the team.
They've still got one more presentation to make, the presentation of the most valuable player, and sometimes they can be difficult decisions in these sort of games. And I would, again, honourable mention to Jamal Anderson for his 13 points and 6 rebounds, but with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, there can only be one MVP.
I believe so, and we're about to crown him.
And it is Drew Sullivan who is given the acclaim, and what a 12 months from the Olympics to now. What a year it's been for that man.
And I saw a smile the size of the Olympic park, Daniel, from Drew Sullivan, because you know, he knows how hard he's battled through this season, and he had to go through one of his old teams, the Newcastle Eagles, to do the treble, and he did just that.
Well, fantastic season for Drew Sullivan, fantastic season for the Leicester Riders. They've beaten the Newcastle Eagles here 68 points to 57 in the playoff final. And Riders will go on and milk the applause. I think still posing for the cameras, Drew Sullivan. And yeah, he's going to be pretty happy later on today.
He's happy now, Daniel. He's happy. They're all happy.
Phenomenal victory for the Leicester Riders. They have completed the treble here at Wembley.
One gets the impression that this Leicester team might be doing a bit of celebrating tonight in those special tracksuits. All the analysis and the celebrations coming next. Welcome back to Wembley Arena. The Leicester Riders have really taken the BBL by the scruff of the neck this season, and they've shown again today just how strong they are. They are the playoff champions. It's been a terrific afternoon of sport as well. Still joined by Vince and Tony. Vince, Leicester started well, and Newcastle were always playing catch-up a little bit, weren't they?
Yes, they were. You know, it was those early jabs like you see in a boxing match from both teams to see what would happen, and then all of a sudden that Leicester defense clamped on. They said exactly what they were going to do right from the beginning. 94 feet of defense, and just wore the guards out.
Tony, you've lived through so many days like this, haven't you? And you're almost itching to get out there. But one of the things that I know you were frustrated by was the fact that Newcastle just couldn't get in behind Leicester, could they?
Well, yeah, the thing is, they kept shooting threes, and it seemed like someone opened the door, and wind came through. And I mean, Chapman, I think he hit his first three with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that was the only three he hit. And they just kept shooting threes, and it shot them right out of the game.
All that said, though, Leicester was so tight defensively that sometimes they had no option, did they?
Exactly. They couldn't get around them. And you just have to praise Leicester defense. I mean, Andrew Solomon had a great game. You got it, and Jamal Anderson came off the bench and did what he had to do.
Vince, how impressed have you been by Leicester this season and today as well to really follow through and win the final game?
Well, that says a lot about Coach Paternostro and what he's instilled in this team. I think I said earlier on, the only chance Newcastle had was Kareem Maddox. He's the only one that could match the Leicester athletes, size-wise, athletically and everything else. And he couldn't stay on the floor long enough. He kept making bonehead mistakes, and he just couldn't stay on the floor long enough. Charles Smith and Joe Chapman, they were no match for that athleticism. So, you know, Coach Paternostro came here with a game plan. He knew they were fitter, stronger and bigger, and Newcastle had to find a solution, and the solution wasn't there.
Well, we can hear from the MVP now. Mark Woods is with Drew Sullivan.
Drew, yet another superlative performance from Leicester, and you end the season with the treble. Sum up this campaign.
It's been great, you know. The guys that we're playing with, they've been absolutely incredible, you know. From day one, they just wanted to come and win. They weren't worried about trophies, they weren't worried about titles, they just want to win every single game, and that's what carried us through all season, you know. We got upset with ourselves if we didn't have great performances, you know, regardless of their wins or not, and then we wanted to improve. And we just said that by the end of the season we wanted to play our best basketball. Now, you know what? Look, the past couple of games we haven't maybe done a great job on the offensive end, but one thing that we always said is that defense travels wherever we go, and that's what we've done all year round. We play defense from minute 1 to minute 40, and you know, and we take pride in playing every minute of every game.
Looking at the stats for this game and analysing it a little bit, you've shot 47%, Newcastle just 35%, and you seem to do a really good job of limiting their offensive opportunities and also forcing turnovers as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done doing all season. You know, we didn't have to change anything. We believe in our defensive scheme. We believe in our defensive philosophy. We know that if we can get stops, it gives us an opportunity to get easy baskets, and we got a lot of points in transition. You know, one of the other things that we said we wanted to do is limit them for the three-point line. I think they only had one tonight, and you know, that was just a little mental error from Jay for 1 split second. But that's the kind of players that they are. You know, Charles and Joe, all they need is the slightest opening to make a shot, and you know, but for 40 minutes we were able to do that.
And I guess you've got a treble. The only one thing you can do next season is improve on this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we will enjoy this, but I'm sure that the thing that we were going to talk about is, you know, 2 points away, or you know, 3 points away of winning everything. So, you know, hopefully, you know, Russell can do a really good job and bring everyone back, and then we can go and try and have a better season next year.
Hypercritical Drew Sullivan, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell you what, they really seem to enjoy playing together, this Leicester team. They seem to have a love of the game, don't they?
Well, yeah, if you look at the last couple of years when I was there, we had a couple of individuals. But this team here just gelled together. They didn't worry about points or anything like that. They just wanted to win. And that make a big difference in the game.
And we can hear now from the man who has made this all happen. Rob Paternostro has meant this is such a successful season for the Leicester Riders, and we can hear from him now.
Rob, at the end of that season, It wasn't even a close game. You really dominated them today, and you must be pleased to end what's been a fantastic campaign on a high.
Tremendous. I thought the defense from start to finish was fantastic, and I think all season long our guys were committed to that end of the floor. We made the plays that we needed to, and there was a confidence about us today. I liked it going into the game. To finish this season off like that, we're all very excited.
Obviously, that 13-0 run in the first quarter really took you away from them, but you didn't seem to allow them to get back into that offensive rhythm. I heard you in timeout several times urging your guys not to make mistakes, make sure they get back in transition. This is a team that really has been relentless from start to finish.
Yeah, I think, all season we haven't been too concerned about teams making runs. We just talk about 40 minutes, 94 feet. We just keep going. We knew this team would come back at times, but we weren't worried about that. We feel like we have the athleticism, the depth, and the conditioning to keep it going all the way through. But one thing I want to say is my grandmother passed away this week. And she was someone who taught me how to compete, and I felt like my guys competed today. I'm going to miss you. Love you.
One last thing, of course, you've talked about what a special group this is. I know every summer you're out there hustling to try and bring in fresh talent. What's the odds of keeping this team together for another crack at the quadruple next season?
Well, we love these guys, and I think a lot of them love being here, and I think we made that clear to them, so we'll have to sit down and talk to them. We have something special with this group. We'd love to hold on to it, but one way or another, we're going to continue to compete, whoever's out there.
Enjoy your summer, Rob.
I will. Thanks a lot.
Well done indeed, Rob Paternostro. What a season they've had. Tony, I just want to come back to you because you played under Rob, didn't you, at Leicester? And he seems like such a charismatic personality. Is he the same as that with his group in private?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a character. But I tell you, you have to realize how much work this guy put in his team. He watched so many college basketball games, a lot of NBA games, and he just brings it all into practice. And he does his homework all the time. So he deserved this. And sorry about his grandma, and hopefully, everything will be all right.
Yeah, nice words, emotional words from him. Vince, in terms of what he's achieved today, they've been just fantastic, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been fantastic. I mean, he's such an enthusiastic guy. He played that way. When you watch Rob play, he was an enthusiast. He loved what he did, and that has transcended onto the team. And it's that love of playing that's kept that defense going on and on, as he said, from minute 1 to minute 40. And obviously, in the end, wore out any competition, including a tough organization like the Newcastle Eagles.
Well, let's take a little look at how dominant they were, because really they came out and one sensed that they were physically stronger than Newcastle right from the start, really, didn't one, Vince?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to change the way they played. Look at Cousinard. That's what he's done. He's an athletic 6'7" forward, causing a lot of problems. Drew Sullivan, if you sleep on him, he'll knock a shot down like that or throw down this absolutely thunderous dunk. I mean, that's what they've been doing all season long, and they were never going to change. So if Newcastle weren't going to find a solution, they were going to be on the wrong end.
And Newcastle, as we said before, Tony, were struggling to get inside, were forced to go for another 3 points, and all the while, Leicester were racking up the points.
Yeah, I mean, you see they kept pushing them farther and farther outside, and Newcastle kept taking those threes. And Charles Smith started off well in the second half, but I think he got tired towards the end, and he just couldn't pull it through by himself because his partner in crime, Chapman, was completely off.
I think tired towards the end is the key there, Tony, because it was all that work that they did in that first 3 quarters. It just knocked them out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and they came out in quarter 3, and actually it looked like they were closing the gap. It kind of alternated, didn't it, between 12, 11, 7, 9.
The game was being decided at that point. The game was being decided. People think it gets decided at the end, but it was getting decided at that point. And all of a sudden, I think there was a steal, and Sullivan went off on a fast break, and then boom, boom.
And then he came back and hit the 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
So as we said in quarter 3, Newcastle did start to close the gap. They did have some good moments of play. They came out really energised, and at this point we can see Smith helping to reduce the deficit. They couldn't keep it going, but they did look strong for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, this is no slouch organization. This is a team that won everything last year, Tony. So, they got some great players in here, and they tried it. They're proud guys, and they wanted to come back with something. Chapman trying to find some inspiration. Maddox, who had the athleticism, Defoe matched that as well. But in the end, there you go, sweeping it off the glass, Jay Cousinard. And really, in the end, really, there was just too much, despite that little sort of battle back from the Eagles.
After last season, Newcastle winning everything, how much of a shock will it have been to have been so comprehensively outplayed by Leicester this season? They can't have expected it.
Yeah, I think Fab is right now, he's screaming and probably tears coming out his eyes. He's just that type of person. And
he's an emotional guy,
yeah,
isn't he?
he's really emotional. And I tell you what, he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back. He's a good guy, and he's going to recruit well for next season. And I take my hats off to this guy. He's a strong guy.
Absolutely. Well, listen, right on cue, we can hear now from Fab Flournoy.
Fab, ultimately a season without a trophy, and today the team just not quite able to live with Newcastle or with Leicester.
Yeah, no, unfortunately we just wasn't playing well, and to be honest, it's down to me. I got the rotations wrong at the start of the game, and the energy wasn't right, and it just built momentum for them. And then once we got down by about 10 points, it's a particular team that plays extremely well, and you know, especially defensively, they win. Might win ugly, but they win, and it was consistent with that all season.
Eagles today, 16 three-point attempts, just one made, and so much of that, I guess, down to the great defense that Leicester have played all season.
No, because some of those threes was missed. The way that they collapsed on us on the two-point line, yes. Some of the three-point shots probably came down to a little bit of tired legs. Some of them came down to we just, you know, the ghost of Wembley and, you know, whatever you want to call it, we just wasn't able to make them. But again, not taking anything away from them. They did play an awesome and defensive game. The one thing that they did do was they created the turnovers, and the turnovers created the easy scores for them.
The summer starts here. During this summer, I know you turn 40 years of age. Will we be seeing you back as player and coach at Newcastle next season?
Right now, it's a bit of a tough question to ask at this moment in time. You know, just go back and, you know, revisit everything, look at it from start to finish, and see what happens next.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
He is an emotional guy, isn't he? He's a great manager as well, so popular in the game of basketball in this country. And you mentioned the ghost of Wembley there. Newcastle can't win here, can they?
No. Well, I tell you what, playing in this arena, you know, you have to be not just only a great shooter, but these rims is so hard to score. And even they was missing close shots, and it goes in and bubble out. The rims are so tight, so it happens sometimes. Yeah, it happens sometimes. So it just wasn't a night tonight.
It's a great phrase, that ghost of Wembley. I don't want to get away from it. I mean, you know, you have to think that if Newcastle make it back here next season, they will still be thinking, we struggle to win here.
Well, you know, it's a historic place. You know, we've had some great players here, not least, you know, Tony Windless, Danny Lewis in that triumphant London Towers team, you know, Nigel Lloyd, you know, one of the great Birmingham teams, the teams from Manchester. And then you talk about people like James Hamilton and some of the Worthing Bears, you know, Alan Cunningham, Colin, and these are big-time players over the years. And in basketball, we respect those people. And when you come here, you feel privileged to play on the same court.
You do, and it's been a really kind of youthful atmosphere here today, and yet a real nod to the past on occasions as well, and really knowledgeable fans. As far as where the game goes from here, how does Flournoy rebuild his Newcastle side over the summer? Does he need to rebuild from scratch? Does he need to recruit? What should he do?
Well, yeah, I mean, he got Charles Smith and Chapman. I don't know what Charles' situation is. He's going to stay for another year or retire. But he needs to bring in more younger guys who athletic like Leicester and go from there. And I don't know if Fab's going to be a player's coach or he could just, you know, just coach. So, yeah, he got to do a little more recruiting.
And, Vince, the problem if you're Leicester is when you've won 3, people say, hey, next year, one better, win them all.
Well, you've got to get the first one first, right? I mean, you talked about Leicester and you talked about Coach Flournoy. You know, there are 11 other coaches around the league who will also be out there beating the bushes, looking for their Jay Cousinards and their Zaire Taylors and seeing if they can come back and challenge. Because what's happening now in the BBL is an explosion of basketball. You know, since the Olympic Games, basketball is rising rapidly to the top of the sport that everybody in this country wants to be part of. You know, and I think, you know, it's exciting. You know, sellouts at our cup finals, sellouts at our playoff finals, sell out at league games. You know, this is big time now, and I think everyone's licking their chops to get involved.
It really is, and now we can hear from one of Leicester's heroes, Anthony Rowe, who's with Mark.
Anthony, 4 points for you, but just looking at this top you're wearing, it says BBL Cup and League Champions. I guess we're going to have to get you some new tracksuit tops now.
Yes, please. It feels great. It feels great to wear it, and you know, it's not just the attire; it's the actual the meaning of it, and it feels fantastic. I'm on cloud 9 right now.
You came into this team mid-season as a replacement. You fitted in so well. Rob Paternoster talked about the instant chemistry there. Talk about what's been so special about this group of players and what you've been able to achieve this season.
You know, I think sometimes, Mike, it's not, you know, it's not any written rule. Like, I just went to the first practice I went there and I just felt, it felt right, you know. My mum tells me to go with your feelings, go with your heart, and that's exactly how it worked out for me. The first practice was great, and then everything else fell into place. The coaches, the players, they made me welcome, and I just slid right in.
When these finals used to be at Wembley, we always talked about the great American players in this league. Here's a team with just 2 Americans, a lot of Brits, everyone contributing, and I guess that says something about the development of the game in this country.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. You know, we've got some fantastic British players. We got the MVP, which is British, and he was fantastic today. We have young British players. Jamal Anderson was fantastic today. Up and coming British players. So it's very promising for our country, for our sport, and you know, we're just going to continue to grow.
Well, it's been a fantastic season. We've enjoyed watching it. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers, mate.
So those tracksuits had league champions and cup champions, but they didn't dare be too presumptuous and put playoff champions on them as well.
Well, you know, that shows that they're, you know, they're selfie-facing. They're not getting carried away with themselves. Let's have what we've got, and if you get some more, we'll be grateful.
Absolutely. I mean, you coach and own the London Lions, don't you, Vince? In terms of watching this performance today by Leicester, how far behind do you think the rest of the league are, and what do you guys need to do to catch up, because they have looked so impressive, haven't they?
Sure. I mean, I don't think the rest of the league is too far behind. I mean, Newcastle Eagles, you know, try to go toe-to-toe with them today. They're just not as athletic as Leicester, so that's something they might need to fix. You know, up in Glasgow, they've got a tremendous team there under Sterling Davis and a tremendous point guard in E.J. Harrison, and I don't know what happened to them in the first round of the playoff. Maybe just the nerves got to them and they got knocked out. You know, for us at London, the way we look at it, we gave these Leicester Riders the toughest battle on the way to this title. You know, we had them beat at our place practically and ran out of steam with about 4 minutes to go in Leicester. So we feel that we're a step away from them. But, you know, the Plymouth Raiders, you know, have high expectations of their organization. So there's a lot of teams out there that really are not too far away from doing what they've done. But it's not an overnight thing, you know. It's preparation, and a bit more preparation.
And in terms of your own team, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in London at the moment. 9,500 absolutely packing out Wembley Arena today. And you guys are on the move at the start of next season, aren't you?
Well, absolutely. We're over the moon. Obviously, we were selling out our last 6 games at Crystal Palace with 1,800 people. We now move to the Copper Box in the Olympic Park. That's 7,500 people.
That's going to give you such a buzz,
That's
isn't it?
just good. I mean, everyone's, you know, hair on the back of the neck tingling, that kind of, you know, people are saying, oh, isn't it good to get to the end of the season? And I'm thinking, crikey, I wish I had 22 more games. We could get started now. But no, I mean, all of us in basketball are delighted to be where we are in the sport. We've had some major sponsorship announcements just recently. We've got some really exciting news to announce in the next few months. So for us in London here, you know, we're delighted to be able to fly the flag here. We're glad the playoff finals are here in Wembley too.
Well, we can go to Dan and Mark now. They've watched all season of the BBL and they're looking forward to what's coming up.
Well, we have been watching all of this season, Daniel. I mean, here we are at the finish, and I guess for Leicester, they're our team of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think even if Leicester had lost today, they probably would have ended up Team of the Year, but on the basis that they made all the finals. But it's probably a fitting way for them to round off what has been an unbelievable season. You look back, I mean, how many games did they lose? 5. One of them was a second leg aggregate win in which they reached the final. Another one when they rested 6 players. So really only about 3 defeats in an entire season. It was an amazing achievement for them.
And of course, the off-season coming up now are both Great Britain's men and women going to Eurobasket EuroLeague Final 4 coming to London. Birmingham coming into the league next year. A lot of growth in British basketball that we'll see between now and the start of next season. I'm looking forward to it, and so are you.
Thanks, guys. It is exciting, isn't it? Birmingham coming in, Tony. I mean, that's another big thing for the sport, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of the major teams, well, major city, and they need a team here in London, I mean, in the BBL. And the thing is, the last coach there, I think it was it Nigel?
Lloyd?
Nigel Lloyd, yeah, Nigel Lloyd. And he did a pretty good job. He just didn't have that much talent. So hopefully they bring the talent in for a big city.
Vince, very quickly, Leicester have done the treble this season. Could they do the quadruple next season, looking at how dominant they are?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. They could actually add one more American to this team. They need to retain the Great Britain captain. If they do, then they have a chance.
Vince, Tony, thanks very much indeed. It's been an absolutely terrific afternoon of basketball here at Wembley Arena. Leicester Riders have done it again. They've been so dominant this season. They won the league, they won the cup, and now they are playoff champions as well. It truly has been Leicester's season. Well done to them. Goodbye.